I'm coming for all of you. Right now, there's a 15-year-old sophomore in high school who has no idea they're studying nursing just so they can wipe my ass in 17 years. I'm 50 and single. That's a fantastic combination. I'm going to spend my golden years dating a handful of spit and a jug of Astroglide. Hey, what's happening? Mike Schmidt, 40-Year-Old Boy Podcast. I know you're thinking to yourself, Mike, where you been? What's going on? The show's a little late. It's already Thursday, although this could be Friday. Who knows? It all depends on how fucking soon I get this to you into your steaming ears. Well, I'll tell you what, I wish I had some sort of great news where I'm like, you're not going to believe this, dude. I was scooped up by Hollywood to participate in some sort of project that kept me out of my own show. But I just crawled out of my head after 3 days, which is not a good experience, I want to tell you. And look, this is not going to be like a woe is me, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened. And I don't need any sympathy. I don't need no doctor, I think is the proper term. If who would say that? The Guess Who? I don't know who the fuck said that. I don't need no doctor. Perhaps it was Humble Pie. Perhaps it was Peter Frampton himself. Perhaps it was Steve Miller, Peter Frampton's friend, who's playing with him at the Greek Theater soon. I don't know. I know what Steve Miller would recommend. He would recommend I take the money and run, and I don't blame him, certainly. But I've been banging around on my own skull for a couple of days, man. And it's so funny. I had to talk to my friend Dave, who does all the artwork, and he gave me the Bill Murray speech from Stripes with John Candy. He threw a glass of water in my face, and he's like, "What the fuck, man? What's wrong with you?" It wasn't really that harsh. I mean, but he's a different kind of cat. You know what I mean? I go to him and. He's one of my best friends in the world, probably my best friend in the world. I've known him now almost 40 years, and he's a guy I can go to and go, "Hey, dude, this is happening," and he's sick of it. He doesn't. I mean, he's not sick of it. I don't want to paint him. He has a different outlook than I do, and I told him this on the phone. I go, "Look, dude, I need this," and he goes, "Well, I can't do that for you." And I go, "I get it. All right, I understand that. That's fine." Because he's a guy who just fucking charges through, and that's fine. He does a thing, but also he recognizes that the things I'm doing are wrong for myself, and so he's like, "Hey, dude, you've got to go ahead and fix this yourself because it's you the one who's making the mistake." And I get that. I understand. Hi, this will make a lot of sense eventually, probably. Maybe it won't. Who knows? But the point is, I climbed into my head for a couple of days, and it was dark, and I don't know why I did it. I really don't even know why the fuck I did it. I mean, I do know why. I don't want to use words like triggered and all that other bullshit. You know what I mean? But things happen, you see things, and you just go, all right, well, this might be it, and you spin yourself out of fucking control. And is that the thing to tell you about? I don't know. Because I'll tell you what, whenever I talk like this and I kind of, and look, here's the problem. I'm alone. As we know, when I'm alone, things can get a little navel-gazy, a little skull-cracky, openy, and then I go rooting around in there and throwing a bunch of shit out, like cleaning out a closet. And then you got to catch all my refuse and debris, and you go, "Oh, this stuff's been lurking in there for all this time." And I go, "Yeah, of course it has." And you go, "Well, we kind of knew that. We've known you for 10 years. And some of you have known me for 10 years. I got news for you. If you're new to this show due to my new relationship with Anchor, the app that you can get on your phone, you're gonna think to yourself, "Wow, why did I even bother to take the leap on this?" And I can't blame you. Honestly, I'll tell you, if you're a guy from Anchor and you went, "You know what? Let's go ahead and check out what our new guy does. Let's see what he does on his regular show, his long form show." Sure, we've heard his bite-sized stuff on Anchor. And let's talk about it for just a second. If you don't have Anchor, if you don't know what I'm doing, I put out a podcast on Saturday, just like a 10-minute blast, to tell you guys that I'm now working with Anchor.fm. It's a website which is awesome. But don't try to use the website. You'll go there, and trust me, I'm an old person. I always go there and try to root around in there like I rooted around inside my skull. And it turns out that they want you to use the app for like everything. They want you to listen on the app. They want me to record in the app. They want me to upload through the app. They want me to do a ton of shit through the app. And I'm old, man. I'm old, man, and I'm old man. The punctuation does not make a difference there. I'm both of those things. My thumbs are completely uneducated, so when I start going into the app, I'm like, all right, I'll do this, and I hit this button, and there's that. I've already accidentally recorded shows like 4 or 5 different times, just fucking around in the app, and then trying to stop it and make sure it doesn't post. Because the last thing you want me to do is post some silent show. Although I'll tell you what, after listening to this fucking show, maybe you'll want a silent show. Who knows? Maybe you'd prefer some sort of long ass silence. I don't know. But if you're new visiting me here because of Anchor, I'll tell you, it's not like this all the time. I mean, it's like this where I'm talking and stuff like that, but it's a different subject matter. Go listen to last week's show. It was fucking awesome. I tell you what, last week I had a ton of momentum. I thought everything was fine. I was doing really good, and then I got sidetracked. I got waylaid. I did it to myself. I allowed myself to do things that I said I wouldn't do, and then that's what happened. And I'll tell you about them shortly, certainly. But let's talk a little bit about Anchor. If you don't have the Anchor app, please go download it because there's all bite-sized stuff. It's going to be different from this show in that I'm going to write commentaries. What the fuck? I talked about this in last week's 10-minute podcast. I don't know why I'm telling you, because maybe you skipped it. Who the fuck knows? Although maybe if you go into your thing now and you see this and you go, oh, well, that's like an hour long or 2 hours long or however the fuck this winds up being long. Hold on. Yawning. Fuck. And then you see the 10-minute one. Maybe you go listen to the 10-minute one. Maybe the Anchor people are listening to the 10-minute one. And they're like, it's good. He promoted our thing. And they ignored this one completely, which would be great because I don't want Anchor cutting me loose. That'd be a fucking drag. And they won't. They're in the Mike Schmidt business, certainly. I don't know what that means. It means that this gave me a place to put Bite-Size Me. I mean, I could have put Bite-Size Me in the iTunes store, but who the fuck wants to do something like that? I'd prefer to be in business with Anchor.fm. Go root around in there and have fun looking for stuff. I've spent, I got my dick knocked in the dirt and it's been there for a while and I tried. You know what? Here's the thing. When I do stuff, I can escape my own brain. When I go out and I'm busy and I'm doing things and I'm taking care of business. Like I went out and drove all weekend. I was driving all this past weekend. And then Monday morning I had to pick up my brother. You know what I mean? I had to get him at Long Beach and I grabbed him. And then I was like, hey man, you want to hang out today? And he's like, well, because I had 20/20/20 on Monday night. And I was like, why don't you come to that? And then I got to go to a movie because I got to go and record something. And he's like, great. And then Monday I went to do 20/20/20. Now I'll tell you, here's kind of where it started. I had momentum. I was all excited. I thought last week's podcast was great. As you know, there's new details and new arrangements here. This show used to have Lily Von Stupp on here as a producer, and we've talked, but we haven't really talked about the show. But I think it's pretty obvious to me, and again, I don't want to make assumptions and stuff like that, and I think it's pretty obvious to all of you that it's going to be me going forward. Lily has other things going on in her life. She's got her own situation, and that's just the way it is right now. And also, I had grown this is one of the reasons I climbed into my head. But I'm telling you, Lily is, she's a huge part of this show, and she and I are friends. But some stuff happened, and I said something, and she didn't like it. And I don't know if I want to go into exactly what. All right, fuck it. You know what? It all ties in. Why not? I'll tell you it. Nah, I can't. No, I will. This is fucking ridiculous. I was at Lily's house like 6 weeks ago. I think it was a month ago or whatever. And she and I were talking, and we just happened to be having a conversation about how, on the show I say kind of whatever I want. I'm not, I guess, I don't know if politically correct is the fucking term I would use. I'm just me. I talk a lot and I say a bunch of stuff, and I think as a comedian you can make fun of anything and kind of go running downhill and rampaging. And I think Lily is very much in tune right now with the way things are in the United States, and she's making sure that people don't get out of line and say the wrong thing, and she's feeling embattled, I think, as a woman. And so I felt there was some pushback on some things that I said. Like I would say things on the show and she would go, oh, racism is funny. And I'd be kind of like, nah, it's not racist. It's kind of what I've done forever. And I don't know, whatever. So we had, and it was never we didn't really talk about it. I just kind of did the show and she was there and everything was great. But then we were at her house. I'm sitting in her apartment and we were talking. And we started talking about the fact that I talked about the word fat-tarded. And she started telling me, that's going to offend, that offends people. You've said it on your show, and it offends people that are heavy, and it offends people that are maybe developmentally disabled or whatever. And I said, I don't care. I kind of did not care. I was like, because that's a word I created and invented for me. I talked about me. I used that word to describe myself because my head is fat-tarded. I think like a really fat guy. My head is still fucking damaged. I mean, I'm still fat, but I used to be 500 pounds fat. And I mean, I would just walk forward with my mouth open, hoping anything I could swallow slid in. You know what I mean? That's what I meant by it. It's just, even to this day, I'll go to a restaurant, I'll order too much fucking food. And occasionally I'll throw up. If I'm paying, I'll throw up. That's the deal. It's funny. A listener named Michelle wrote me a couple of weeks ago. She goes, the funniest thing you said in your show, if somebody else is paying, I won't throw up. as if that's some sort of normal statement to make. It's not. Look, I recognize it. My head's all fucked up. I get it. I got my own issues, my own problems. I'm trying to fix them. Hi, Shannon. How are you? I know you're not tuning in and listening, but I talk to her every fucking Monday. But I've been trying to. So what happened? I was at Lily's fucking place. See, this is you don't want to hear this, or do you? Maybe you don't. Maybe you do. But I've just climbed out of my skull, and you know what? There's several reasons why I didn't do a fucking show, and I did it late, and this is one of them. So fuck it. We're tearing the scab off. Let's do it. I've had the scab torn off on me since the 28th, so let's just fucking continue in that vein. I'm open and raw, and I'm going to bleed all over your fucking head, and I apologize for that, but that's the way things are going. Because you know what? I spent a long fucking time on this show hiding the truth. I spent a long fucking time on the show not talking about shit that was happening. I spent a long fucking time on the show kind of altering details and changing things to make it look like things were okay when they weren't. And I don't want to fucking do that anymore, man. I don't. And so honestly, I've hit this wall over the last 3 days because there's something I want to talk about. And I'm like, nah, I shouldn't, I can't, I won't. And there's a few things that have just been, because the show's about my life, and I always say it's about my life, and I should tell the truth. And if I tell the truth, you're okay. Just tell the fucking truth. Now, you're going to say, well, that's your interpretation of the truth. Certainly it is. I get that. But I'm telling the truth to the best of my ability, and hopefully we're all on board with that. And if we're not, I also understand that, because I'll tell you what, go look at my iTunes reviews. There are people who are like, oh my God, Mike's the funniest. And then there's someone who's like, this motherfucker is the worst. I mean, there are people who I've now become, I don't want to say completely polarizing, but it's so odd to me to see 5-star reviews where people love me and 1-star reviews where people think I should be thrown in a fucking word jail, which is insane to me. It's a comedy show. But I mean, you know what? That's the territory we're in these days. When I first started this thing, I was under the radar a bit. You could kind of do what you wanted and stuff like that. And I mean, I'm still way under the fucking radar. Who the fuck am I? Nobody. But at the same time, if someone stumbles into this again with my relationship with Anchor or anybody else, they just go, Jesus Christ, that fucking guy, who says stuff like that? And it's like, me, motherfucker. That's who. That's why I've been doing this 10 years, because there are people who are actually on board with it, and they don't mind me saying shit like this, and they understand who I am as a person. They understand who I am inside. They understand that, if you need help, I'm going to help you. And if I need help, I might ask you. Who the fuck knows? We're all in this fucking together. Okay, that's the point. I'm not better than you. I'm not worse than you. I'm you. I just happen to have a fucking microphone. And sometimes I say the shit that maybe you're thinking. Sometimes I say the shit that you probably don't want to think. And sometimes I say shit that I'm thinking that you think, fuck, I wish you wouldn't have said that. I get that. That's who I am. That's who we are. This is almost like a weird mission statement for the fucking show. I should have done this as the first show at year 10, I suppose. But that was before my producer left and everything else happened. So I was at Lily's and we were having a discussion, and then the fat-tarded thing came up, and I was like, fuck. And I think I've actually covered this a little bit on the show here. I might have covered this a few weeks ago, the week it happened. And I just went, fuck, I don't want to police myself. I don't want to be a guy who tells himself he can't say stuff. That's because I've done that now for 2 years, but that's hypocritical. I've done it about myself personally. I might have talked about the world at large and said things I wanted to say, but I've hidden parts of me and parts of things that were happening for the past 2-3 years. And I don't want to do it anymore. I mean, do I want to be this open book who tells you fucking everything? I guess. I mean, but part of me, but are you on board for that? Who the fuck knows? We'll see. Look at this fucking circuitous bullshit that I'm going through. But also, I don't want to be a sad sack. That was the thing I told Mex yesterday when I'm talking to him on the fucking phone. I go, look, there's a show I want to do. I want to talk about it, but I don't want to sound boo-hoo, and I don't want to be sad about it. I want to try. And he's like, dude, you can make it funny. You're you. Be you. Tell your fucking story. Tell your side and be you. You've got the truth on your side. That's all you got to do. And then he told me I was being ridiculous 5 times. And I'm like, all right, I get that. But you don't. And it's that thing where you're trying to explain to somebody your mental state. And he's got his own stuff going on. He never leaves his fucking house. He's a fucking social misfit. He doesn't want to see any other human being other than the people he's related to or the people he grew up with. He doesn't want to meet anybody new. He doesn't want to go to the store. He goes to his boxing gym. He takes care of the kids. He takes them to school. He goes to their functions. He's a fucking amazing dad and a really good husband and an amazing artist, a Renaissance man. He takes care of all the things I need him to take care of, and he does them quickly. That's another thing. He has a work ethic. I maybe don't. I might not have that same kind of work ethic. And I'll tell you what, I just got to go fucking, if I have a spin out, forget it. My work ethic, as slight as it is, the slight scintilla of a work ethic I might have, the second I go on a fucking spin out, forget it. It goes on the shelf. I lose it. I forget it. I sit and I stare. This is not a joke. I just opened the blinds in my apartment. They haven't been open since Tuesday. It's now Thursday afternoon. I haven't gone outside since Tuesday. I've sat in a dark apartment and fucking stared. And And that's just because I got in my own head, and that can be a weird place to be. And I'm not saying I'm not, this is not a cry for help. I'm not like I'm sick. I'm over it now. I think I've pulled myself out of the fucking death spiral a little bit here, but every once in a while it goes black. I don't know how if that works out for you guys. And I don't take any pills. I don't have any fucking mood levelers. I don't have any boosters. I don't have any fucking higher primate on it shit to take that Rogan would tell you about. I want to. I think about it. I take a multivitamin. That's not fucking working. I tell you what, it says one a day. I might take fucking one bottle a day to see if that fucking snaps me the fuck out of it. Maybe that's what I need. Because, I should have just gone outside and exercised. I didn't even go to the gym this week. Like, I bailed on the gym Monday because I had to pick Lenny up from Long Beach at 7 in the morning, and I was supposed to meet John in the gym, and I wrote him and I go, hey man, look, because I was over the weekend I was all fucked up. You know what I mean? The only reason I left my house on Monday and Tuesday was because I had obligations. I had to get Lenny at Long Beach. I had to go do 2020. I had to go record a podcast on Tuesday. Otherwise, I would have sat in my house and done nothing like I did starting Sunday morning on. Sunday morning, again, blinds closed, sat in a dark apartment. But Monday made myself go grab Lenny. It's just, that's the way it is. I went, this is totally true. I went and bought on Saturday night on the way home as I drove. On the way home, I bought a dozen eggs. I bought a loaf of rye bread. I had gone to Lemonade. I apologize. I went to Lemonade on Monday and I bought salmon avocado, and I bought avocado tomato and some barbecue chicken salad, and I said, all right, that's it. You are now hunkered down. You don't have to go spend a dime, and you don't have to leave your fucking house. That's what you will do. I actually made plans. I made plans to stare and do nothing. Like, it wasn't just, it did gobsmack me because, look, it's been building. It's been building since the 28th of July. It knocked me for a fucking loop, and I've fought through it. I had my birthday on the 29th, and then I fought through it and did some stuff, and I'm like, all right, this is okay. And then made myself drive, and I'd go to the gym, and when I do that shit, I'm healthy. When I do that shit, I'm fine, because that's the thing you're supposed to do. You're supposed to bury yourself in other people. You're supposed to bury yourself in exercise. You're supposed to go out and get some sun. You're supposed to get some serotonin. Is that what it's called? I think it is. You're supposed to go out and do something with yourself and fucking make yourself realize that things are okay. You drag yourself out of your own pit. You drag yourself out of your own morass. You turn on the lights. You get out of the black. You turn on, you open the blinds. You look at the sun. You step outside. You breathe air. I haven't checked my mail in a week. You know why? Because I don't want to walk to the mailbox. How fucked is that? I didn't want to go out and do that. And it's a weird ass thing. Is it depression? I don't fucking know, man. I read it. I've read tons of literature over the past fucking 2 weeks. Like I said, since the 28th, just fucking telling myself what to do and reading this, and it has nothing to do with me turning 50. It's nothing to do with being an older guy. I'll explain. I'll get to it. I'll tell you what it is. Truthfully, again, so Lily, what happened at her house was, so then I sat down to record, and she was, we were talking about stuff back and forth, a few things, and I had my earbuds in, and I said to her, all right, I'll just tell you this. Here's something I've been doing that is not healthy or good. Here's something I've been doing that I've supposed to have stopped, and I should have stopped, and I haven't. I've slowed down on it, and that's a fucking lie. I've slowed down on it recently, but there's a reason, but I didn't. I have an ex-girlfriend, and I talked about her on the show, and look, I know a lot of you just sighed and rolled your fucking eyes, but my head's all fucked up. It just is. I wish it wasn't. I tried for it not to be, but after 4 years of this and that, and you guys know, go back to listen to the show at the end of year 9, go listen to Coffee and Rice, and you'll find out exactly what happened. And I did. I bailed, man. I sent everything back to her. I did not, I blocked her on all social media. I did all that. Well, unfortunately for me, I found out that if you block somebody on social media, you can still look at their stuff. They just can't look at yours. How did I find that out? Well, because I went and looked, because that's who I am as a person. I wound up going ahead and betraying myself. And I think I mentioned it once in passing here in the show as a joke about how first thing I do in the mornings, I look at Donald Trump's Twitter and I go, no, that's bullshit. First I look at my ex-girlfriend's Twitter, and then I look at Donald Trump's, and I laughed it off, but it was true. I would go look and I would read it, and I was addicted to checking it out. And it became something I just made myself do every day, a lot. I did it a lot. And then I was tapering off. I was doing a good job of not checking it more than a couple times a day. I know that sounds fucking dumb. And I know you're thinking to yourself, why? Why would you do that? Why? Especially after what I had talked about and what had happened and all the things that had happened. Why? That it speaks to who I am. and it speaks to what's wrong with me. I need love. I've discovered this about myself in therapy. We can go back to, being a kid and in a broken home, and my dad left early, and my mom was kind of on a, I love my mom, but she was busy making sure we stayed alive rather than doing mom stuff. This is going to sound terrible, and I don't mean it to. The hugging and did you finish your homework and how was school today? Not a lot of that happening. A lot more of my mom working a 10-hour shift and we made dinner, and then she came home and she'd have a Diet Coke and then she'd go see her boyfriend. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's just life, and that's a fact, and you got to deal with it. When you're 50 years old, maybe you shouldn't let the things that happened when you were 12 affect you, but it's caused a thing inside me where I have two things. One, I don't like to offend people. I know that sounds weird considering when you look at my iTunes review, what's in there. What I mean by that is I don't like to fight with my close friends, because I feel like I'm going to say something and then it's going to cause a rift and a problem. They're going to go away. And I don't want people to go away. I never want people to go away. It's a weird thing. When I was married, I anticipated that I was just going to be married forever, and I just behaved the way I wanted to behave. Now, I didn't act up or act out on Karen. I wasn't mean to her. We only fought a couple of times. I told you this. In 20 years, I never called her a name. I never called her a bitch. I never called, because that was not true. I loved her. And I wanted to stay with her. The only thing is, I was very selfish, and I thought that I could just live like a bachelor and do whatever the fuck I wanted and not really care about her. She'd take care of herself. I'd take care of myself. I didn't work within the confines of the marriage. I see that about myself now. I know exactly what I did and what I did wrong. So then when I wound up in the next relationship, I tried... in the beginning, look, there was I talked about it in Coffee and Rice. All right. There was a year where we were kind of seeing one another, but she lived with her husband and I was still with Karen for a while, and then Karen splits. Then I was single, and I looked at it like I was single, and I went out and I wound up sleeping with somebody, even though I'd already told my ex-girlfriend that I loved her. And I slept with somebody a couple of times, and, then she found out about it through the show, and it became a huge issue. It always came up. It always became a problem, and so when I thought I was going to lose her, after I did the show that made her basically go, I can't be with you anymore. I begged her to stay. I begged. And she thankfully, I'll never forget the text either, that where I begged for like 4 days. We were going back and forth texting. We didn't really talk on the phone. I think we talked a few times, but I was devastated. I was a zombie. I was working, delivering food. This is in March, April of 2013, I think. And I was delivering food, and then I would text her, and I'd text her at work. I would text her at home. I was begging for a new chance, because I was like, you know what, Mike? And it woke me up. It made me go, you know what? Fuck. You've been selfish your whole life. You've been a guy who's done whatever the fuck he wanted. Even with Karen for 20 years, you did what you wanted. I didn't go out on Karen, until the end, but which is not good. I'm not trying to be a good guy here. I understand. It's the fucking truth, and I made a fucking mistake. I get it. But what I did was I was selfish, and I lived my life for me. Like with Karen, I think back when I went to see Seth and Brandy in New York. I talked about this on the show. I went by myself. They contributed $6,000 to the show, and Karen was like, "Oh, am I going?" And I was like, "It's work." What the fuck? What a monster! What a dickbag you are to do something like that. And it wasn't like I had any plans to do anything other than see Seth and Brandy and sit in my hotel room. And that's what I did. I literally got a hotel room, and I went with Seth Brandy all over the place. And then if I wasn't doing that, I was in my room. And why wouldn't I bring her? Why wouldn't I take her with me? I think of these things all the time. And so I said, I'm never going to make that fucking mistake again. So then when I was with my ex, I know, you guys all know her. I guess I could say her name. I'm trying not to, because I'm trying not to drag her back into it, but it doesn't matter, because she's informed me she doesn't listen to the show anymore. So who cares? Even though I know that that's a fucking lie. And I'll tell you how I know it's a lie, because I go to her Twitter all the fucking time. Anyway, hi, how are you doing? Let's try to not climb back into your skull, Mike. Let's go ahead and focus on the microphone and get all this shit out. All right, so I'm spinning off into a bunch of fucking different things here. The bottom line is I was checking Jill's Twitter all the time. All the time. I was doing it. So then I'm at Lily's house, and we're talking. And by the way, Lily she would get the brunt of the Jill talk. Like when I'd be sad or worried or upset or anything, all the stuff from the interjection thing, the exclamation point Schoolhouse Rock thing, when I was happy, hooray, or sad, aw, or frightened, eek, or mad. She would literally be on board for all of it. I would tell her, and she would dispense womanly wisdom and say, maybe you should think of this, or she would try to help, because I needed, I was going crazy. And I was like, am I crazy here? Is this wrong? Is this right? I didn't know. And I would try to get advice from people. You know, I would try to get advice from Mex, and eventually I burned him the fuck out on it. Because he was around when really crazy shit happened. And he's like, why are you even going back? Why? And I'm like, you don't understand. I don't want people to go away. And there's a fear. There's a fear that I may never find anybody else. I'm 50 and I'm old and I'm single. And, you know, anybody my age has kids, or anybody they have all sorts of, and so all of these fears inform you, and all of them infest you, and all of them, any other word that begins with INF, they happen and they go right inside you. They fill you up, and you think to yourself, Jesus Christ, you know, what's going on? So through 4 years, hey, look, I made mistakes too. We'll do whataboutism and all that kind of stuff. I absolutely made mistakes with Jill. There's no doubt. I've talked about it. But honestly, I ate a ton of shit. I mean, I went through a lot of stuff, and I would try to see friends or talk to Shannon about it. I mean, I spent 3 years in therapy with Shannon trying to crack that safe, like going, well, why would this happen? Well, why? If this happens, and I've made it known that I'm not safe if this happens. I mean, and I'm not here to throw anybody under a goddamn bus. Nobody's getting thrown under the sucky bus, okay? Other than me. It hit me and ran me the fuck over. But I let it, and I wanted it to. I was actually, you know, it's so funny. There was the half of me that fought against being a pussy. I'd be like, man, you're being a pussy here. But then I'd be like, well, that's okay, though, because it keeps her around, and I'm happy. Like, I'm padding around in slippers at her house. And then she'd hear that, and she'd be like, what do you mean you're a pussy? Oh, my God, I'm turning you into a pussy. And I'd be like, that's not you. But then in reality, it was me, because I was the one making the decisions. Hi, this is a lot of fucking nothing that's going nowhere. This is why I've been in my fucking brain. This shit's been echoing back and forth, and I've been playing ping pong against the fucking wall like Gump. Jesus, fuck, bend the table in half and let me play against myself, two-paddled. So I go to Jill's Twitter. We broke up, but I still went to her Twitter. I still looked at her Instagram. I still looked at her Facebook. I had her blocked on all of those, and it was tricky because it's like, you know, she was blocked on Twitter. It's fucking weird. She's blocked, but means she can't see me, but I can see her. On Instagram, she's blocked. But if you go online through the laptop without signing into your app, I can see her. I found out every fucking shortcut. With Facebook, I blocked her. That's a little more difficult. I'll tell you, all you stalkers out there, here's how you do it. What you do is you unblock them, and then you go look at their stuff, and then you have to wait like a day or two, and then you block them again. But because she thought that she was blocked, obviously she's not looking at my page, or maybe she was or she wasn't, but it just so happened that she never knew that I unblocked her. I don't fucking know her. She didn't care. Maybe she's living her life. Maybe that's what she did. She went ahead and said, you know what? I don't give a fuck, and I'm going to go ahead and make good things happen for myself. She's doing all the things I'm supposed to do. She's found her friends. She's gone and found happiness, and good for her. I hope that everything is thrilling and everything's gone well. I feel like Adele. Yeah, things have not gone, or Alanis Morissette, you know. I am not so well. I'm good, happy for you both. Whatever the fuck. All right, so I would go look at her Twitter, and I would see stuff, and I would read it and all that. Well, it just so happened when I was at Lily's house, you know, we were talking about me and me saying offensive things and all that stuff. And so I finally sat down to record. I'm directly across from Lily, and so then I'm telling her, I'm just going to say this. When I was dating Jill, she had told me that there was a guy that she had a long time crush on. Okay. And it was such a long time crush. Even her family knew of it. I'm not going to say names. I'm not going to get into it, but she had told me that. Well, then sure enough, when we split apart, I go to her Twitter and I see that she has reached out to this guy and he has responded. And then he follows her on her social media, and he's got whatever. And in my head, of course, because I'm not healthy, I was like, motherfucker. Now look, I've walked away. We're broken up. I was the one who made the choice to go and disappear into the ether. I made the choice to walk away to stay healthy, but still, I was unhealthy enough to go look and then be upset that had happened, because in my brain, I never fully went away. I mean, I went away, I did, but then there's that part of me that's like, because I kept going back to her Twitter, and she would say terrible fucking things about me. I'm a narcissist. I'm terrible. The one that really freaked me out was one, because she would like tweets, and I knew she was talking to me, and I would say that, and everybody's like, you're crazy. And I'm like, I'm not crazy. I know how she is, and I know what she's doing, but I also know how I am, and I should just walk the fuck away from this. If you don't read it, it doesn't fucking matter. But I would go because there would be like 3 bad things, but then there would be a good thing about me or her or us. something along the lines of like, I can't sleep. I want him here so badly. Things like that. She would like those. And I looked at that as those were little bursts of, they were skin pops of heroin. She's like heroin and Hershey bars for me. Like I know I shouldn't, but I go back and I go back and I fucking go back. And how much do I go back? Well, when I came home late Saturday after, like I said, when I bought my, I'll tell you this, I bought, fucking rye bread and eggs and all that shit. I bought 16 Hershey bars, giant Hershey bars, knowing that would last me for however long it needed to last me while I was here in the house. Yeah, it's been a bit of a meltdown the past few days. I'm just laying around like Augustus Gloop with fucking chocolate crumbs and butter on my face and an empty fucking rye bread wrapper on the countertop. But at least I had eggs and bacon, right? No, haven't opened them yet. Still eating fucking rye bread. All right, and yogurt. I have a ton of fucking yogurt in my fridge. I hide. I'm hiding. I was hiding from the world. I'm hiding from you guys. Hiding from you guys this week because I didn't want to talk about this shit because I knew this is what would fucking happen. If I don't have somebody to rein me the fuck in sitting across from me and going, hey, dude, don't fucking do this. Don't pop the top on a can of shit you don't want to pour the fuck out. Don't alienate everybody by sending them fucking running for the goddamn hills because you talk about your goddamn problems again in some weird fashion. Everybody's got their own fucking problems. They turn to you for non-problems. They want to listen to you so you can make them laugh and make them escape whatever bullshit they got going on in their fucking lives. And then here I am dumping this on you with a goddamn snow shovel. What the fuck, man? But it answers questions, maybe. I don't fucking know. Because I will tell you, a lot of people have written me about Lily. And I'm always very, I just say, hey, I love her. And I do. She's my friend. But people want to know when she's coming back or why she's not on the show. Hey, well, I guess we're getting into that now. So I was sitting there and so Jill had connected with this fucking guy and I was hurt by it. And I was like, man, what the fuck? And then he had tweeted something. This I shouldn't fucking do this, but I'm going to because it's the truth. He tweeted something about his CPAP machine. And I read it, and I was sitting there with Lily, and I just went, Jesus Christ! I go, and I said, I said, oh my God, I read Jill's Twitter. She's like, why are you fucking doing that? You can't do that. I'm like, I understand, I know, but the thing is, it's so funny. There's this dude that she's been reaching out to, and he's like her guy. And I go, and then just yesterday he tweeted something or whatever, or earlier today he tweeted something about his CPAP machine, and then she answered it, and I'm like, good luck fucking a guy in a CPAP machine. Anyway, and I start talking, and then there's a beat, and I can see Lily's entire face change, and I'm talking, and then I look at her, and she just goes, Eddie has a CPAP machine. And I said, oh, okay. And she goes, you just fucking took my relationship and threw it in the garbage. I said, what are you talking about? She goes, no, you think fucking a guy in a CPAP machine is like wrong. I do that. Like, I mean, I love him. He's my boyfriend. He has a CPAP machine. Why is that? And I go, oh my God, no. You know I didn't mean that about you, right? That's not about you or him or anything. I'm talking about this other thing. The fact that I looked at and she goes, well, I can't believe you'd say something like that. That's so fucking rude. This is what we were talking about earlier when you're saying things you don't think and you blah, blah. And I go, but I didn't. It's not about you. I said you're weaponizing this and you're making it about yourself, and I did not mean it like that. I don't mean that about you. And she just went, I can't fucking believe you. I can't believe you'd say something like that. That's fucking ridiculous. And then there was silence. And we still have to record a show. All right. So I say to her, I go, I don't. All right. And I'm sitting there with my earbuds in, and I go, but I didn't mean that. And she goes, it doesn't matter if you said it and it's wrong. And I'm just like, fine. I go, but I didn't. It wasn't about you. And in my head, I'm going, you've known me fucking 14 years or whatever the fuck it is. I'm not meaning that about you. I mean, I guess I don't think I've been replaying the fucking scene in my head for weeks. So we're in silence, and I sit there and I do what I always do in that instance. We're quiet. It's silent. We have to do the fucking show. And I'm like, and we start going at it and arguing about it and talking back and forth about it again. And I go, well, fuck this. We're just recording this. Let's just record this. We'll talk about it on the air. And I literally threw in my earbuds and I just hit record. And I started the show, and we basically spent 8 minutes going back and forth without, and I'll tell you this, and this is the truth. I couldn't and didn't say exactly why we were fighting or what she was upset about, because I didn't want to talk about the fact that I was reading Jill's Twitter on the air. Hi, that's me. I was hiding. Hiding my sickness, hiding my addiction. and didn't want to look like a stalking creep, which I guess that's exactly what I was by reading the shit, I suppose. But it was a way to make myself feel better and worse at the same time, because I would see all the terrible shit, but then there'd be that great thing. It was like I said, it was punch, punch, hug. Punch, punch, hug. He's a narcissist. He's a monster. He's terrible. My ex is terrible. Boy, I wish he was here right now. I'll never sleep without him again. I need to feel his arm around me. And there's the hug. There's the good thing. And it's not even like I had any sort of ideas in my head of getting back together with her. Honestly, you know what I had ideas of? Meeting her for 3 days and just getting naked and fucking. I mean, that's what overtook me. In my head, I was like, there's no way I can be this person's boyfriend again, and she has no interest in being my girlfriend ever again. But I have lust that is uncontained. I mean, I am just a lust hurricane. I am a fucking lust tsunami. Forget it. Like I want to make sure she doesn't walk for a month like that. I mean, and so when I would see the hugs, and periodically they were, sexy or whatever, that kind of thing, I would think, well, maybe she feels like I do. And then you do that thing, like I said, bargaining, where you eat Hershey bars and you tell yourself, you're okay, you'll make this work. I literally in my head was like, well, maybe if I just told her to meet me like in Phoenix for 3 days and we would just get naked and fuck. Like if we just did that, that'd be amazing. And then we wouldn't have to worry about all of our problems. She could see other guys, I'd see other girls, and everything would be okay. And you delude yourself and you think maybe that's a possibility. But then in your more lucid moments, you go, well, fuck no, obviously that's not a possibility. You can't make that happen. Because of me and my addictive personality. And I was addicted to, because, not only was lust what I've told you about this. I want to be held and loved and told that everything's going to be okay. I talked about this before when I was with Karen. We had a thing where I would look at her if things were especially tough, if anything was going on, or even if I just felt it, I would look at Karen and I'd say, "Be nice to me," and she would hold me. I would lay my head in her lap, and she would just put her arms around my head and stroke my hair, or she would just hug me and tell me it was okay. So I would say, be nice to me. And then, of course, as I find out when I go to therapy as a byproduct of being a child and never being held enough and being afraid people are going to go away and being afraid of the mistakes you make and every other fucking thing. So, I mean, I've got a pile of books here that'll tell you exactly who I am and why I've done the wrong things. So with Jill, I would in reverse, I would be nice to her. She would fall asleep, and I told you I would hold her, and I would whisper to her as she slept and tell her that I loved her and I was never leaving her and I couldn't wait to spend the rest of my life with her. And I would do those things, and I miss them tremendously. I mean, I miss them so much, even though I realize that other things have superseded them and there are problems and that it can't happen again. But it doesn't matter. You live sometimes in pursuit of a fantasy, and you live in pursuit of the happiness that you had briefly and you think you can get again. And also, it fits my personality perfectly in that, I hate the hassle. All right. I always talk about, I hate the hassle. Like if I get a flat tire, my tire is going to get fixed. What I hate is that the next 2 hours is me having to change the goddamn tire, clean out the trunk, get out the spare, undo the lug nuts, put it on, go to the other guys, the shop, have them repair my tire. All the hassle part, that thing where you just go, fuck, I've just lost 2 hours of my life. I've just lost 3 hours of my life. I hate the hassle. Well, and this is going to sound probably callous, but, I had Jill, and I knew what she liked, and she knew what I liked. And we were really compatible in the bedroom. That was fucking amazing. I mean, it was just really, it was, I can't, there's a reason why I still am consumed with lust. There's a reason. And the thing is, I know she feels the same way. At least according to things that I would see on her Twitter. Oh, and also she's told me, and I'll get to that. But she was, and I don't lie, she was the sexiest woman I'd ever known, and she was, and she wanted me. And now she is gone, and so now you have to start over. And this, again, this will plumb the depths of who I am a little bit, and I'm sure you get it. I'm sure you know this about me, and I may have even alluded to it on other shows. Now I have to trick another woman into loving a 50-year-old Uber driver who does a podcast out of his apartment talking about his weaknesses. Does that make sense? Now I have to imagine. I mean, I can't even imagine. It was funny when Jill and I were together. We would laugh because we would go, who wants to date anybody? Who would ever want to go out and meet anybody new in this fucking world? Who wants to go to Match.com and scroll through a bunch of faces? Like I used to tell her, I couldn't even imagine it's got to be worse for a woman. A chick's just got to be getting nothing but cock photos all the time, and you know. She was getting them anyway. I mean, I know for a fact she was getting them, and it would drive me out of my fucking skull because I wanted to just beat up the world. That's why we used to do this thing where we'd sit on the couch and literally I just gesture with my thumb back and forth like you, me, you, me, you, me, and I just go like us forever on this couch hiding, no more. And she was on board. She's like, this is our couch. She has a text. I have a text that she sent me once, and it just says, this is our couch. Because she sent me an emoji of a box. And she goes, they need a couch emoji. This is our couch. We will never leave our couch. We are safe in our couch forever and ever, just holding each other's hands. And I was like, yep, exactly. That's all I wanted to do. And it was so funny. I would always be torn about, you know, she was always like, we should move to Milwaukee. You should do these things. And in my head, I'd be like, yeah, maybe that's a plan. Maybe that's something I can do. And then I'd just go, you can't. You know you can't. I couldn't for my career, and I couldn't because there were bad times. And I thought if I came there, they would just increase and continue. Then I'd just be there for them. And stuff that I found untenable, that I did not care for or enjoy. Does that make sense? And I would try to make it better, and I would try to get past it. So I go to her Twitter for the good things, and then I see the bad things, and I say that, and Lily freaks out. So we do the show, and I spend 8 minutes fighting with her, but I can't say what it's about. I won't say what it's about. I could, but I didn't want to reveal weakness. I didn't want to go, yeah, I was looking at Jill's Twitter and I saw this thing and I talked about it. Because then you guys would be like, what the fuck are you doing? Just like Dave does. What the fuck are you doing? Why are you going back? Why do you care? And I'd say because I need it. Because I need a hit. Because I need to remember that somebody loved me once. And I know that sounds weird, but it's true. Yes, I get it. I'm 50, not 10. Yes, I understand all those things, but eventually, you know, the show is called The 40-Year-Old Boy for a reason. Because I'm still a fucking kid in a lot of ways. Certainly in my brain. So I didn't want to talk about it on the show, like I said, because dudes, let's face it, social media, the best thing about social media is all of the money it saves you. Because now you don't have to drive past your ex's house every night to see if the lights are on. You can just go check out her Instagram or Twitter and her Facebook and see exactly what she's fucking up to. So Mark Zuckerberg, honestly, has saved me so much gas money over the years. And fuck, I get it. She's in Wisconsin and I'm here, but who the fuck knows? I'm bananas enough to where I might just fucking hop in the car and go drive past her house. Who the fuck knows? Because she used to tell me about other guys who did that. There was some dude named Mike who used to drive by and text her at 2 a.m. when her lights were on, and I'm like, can I murder him? Is there and then she'd be friends with him. Hey, he's a good guy. Fuck, let's kill him. Let's kill him. Can we do that? How about if I hide in the bushes and he fucking comes by and he texts me, you text me, and then he texts you, you text me, and then I just crowbar the fuck out of his car because that's who I am as a person. Because I would be driven nuts because I'd have to hear about every single guy who came by or sent a message or sent a cock pic. Fuck. All right, so Lily and I went at it for like 8 minutes, just shouting. But again, the show, it was kind of like this, where it should never be released. It was a show that, like, we went at it for a good 8 minutes or 9 minutes. And then finally, I literally just went, I can't do this. There's nothing here. And I just took my earbuds out and I threw them on the fucking computer. Because we were going back and forth about me hurting her feelings and hurting other people's feelings and saying things that I shouldn't say. And I didn't want to be scolded on my own fucking show for the things I couldn't say. But in reality, she was hurt. She was still hurt by the thing that I said. And I got that. But I also felt I didn't say anything that was about her. And I wished that she would have understood that it wasn't about her. So we just sat there in silence. And I did what I always do. I took stock of the situation in silence and I went, all right, are you wrong here? Did you do the wrong thing? Are you overreacting? Are you letting your embarrassment and upset at the fact that, Jill's texting or tweeting with another guy or any of that, is that coloring who you are and your reaction here? And so there was silence between us. There's a beat. And I said to Lily, I just went, hey, I'm sorry. You know, this is probably me being upset about what I saw on Jill's thing. You know, all I wanted to do was to me, I was just, to me, it was like the fact that she was, you know, she doesn't want me. I'm not good enough. And yet she's going to date a guy who has a weakness like that. And then it really kind of hit home. And Lily just, her face completely changed and she started to cry. And I said, what did I say now? She goes, a weakness? A fucking weakness? And I go, well, yeah, I mean, I'm just saying that he, you know, the guy, obviously, she's not going to pick me. And she goes, get out of my fucking house. I said, what? She goes, you just told me that Eddie's weak. He has weakness and my relationship is weak. And I get out of my fucking house right now. And she's sobbing. And I'm like, now I'm fucking like, you're kidding, right? I mean, and she goes, you double down, you triple down on what you fucking said? She goes, you just said it. We just fought about it for 8 minutes. Now you're tripling down on it. Get out of my fucking house. And I go, are you serious? She goes, yeah. And I go, all right, fine. And I packed my shit and I got out. And that was it. I left. I did a show that night at my house. And this is what, 6 weeks ago. And I laid low. You know, I mean, I didn't, in my opinion, as you know, I don't think I was wrong. I think I said something that may have been wrong or interpreted in a wrong fashion, but it wasn't about her or her relationship or that stuff. And that's how I felt about it inside. So 2 weeks goes by and I don't call her. I mean, I don't contact her because, you know, she threw me out of her house. You tossed me out of your fucking house. Obviously you don't want anything to do with me. So I bailed, and then the weekend came and then I knew Eddie was there. And then, you know, the next week I laid low, and I guess that was a mistake. Because after 2 weeks I gave her a call and she didn't want to hear it. She didn't want to hear anything from me. And she said on the phone, she goes, I didn't know who the fuck you are. You wait 2 weeks. And I go, well, look, I'm sorry for hurting your feelings. I didn't mean that. She goes, you're not even apologizing for what you said. You don't even know what you did wrong. You're just saying that you're apologizing for hurting my feelings. It's not an apology. And I go, well, and you know, I mean, she was upset still. And I mean, this is 2 weeks later, and I anticipated it would be blown over. And she just goes, I don't even know who the fuck you are. You wait 2 weeks, and then you contact me after 2 fucking weeks, and you're going to tell me that. And I just went, yeah, I guess. And she goes, I can't talk about this now. I don't want to. I have no interest in talking about this. And I went, all right, bye. And we hung up. I had to see her at 2020, and it was very businesslike. You know, we talked a little bit there, nothing major. And this is 2020 on like July 20, whatever the fuck, I don't even know. And then she called me about, I think it was last week, maybe last Friday. And she told me that she had to talk to me about some business stuff. So I took her call and we talked, and it was good to talk to her because I haven't talked to her. I asked her about her health, and it's, you know, still a little rough. I mean, a little rough is an understatement. You know what I mean? I'm not going through it, but her eye is getting worse. Her knee is just as bad. She's starting to get headaches. You know, she can't drive. She was in a car accident. I mean, it's just, and it's her story to tell. Like I can't sit here and talk about it. All I know is it's just not a lot has changed, but she's working very hard. She's taking gigs and she's working jobs. She has a close friend whose wife had a stroke. So Lily helped take care of her. She's organizing fundraising efforts for her and doing everything she can. And so we touched base on all of that. And then she told me basically that, again, it's her story to tell, but we talked about the future of 2020. And she was asking me if it was something I wanted to continue doing, if I thought I would, because she wasn't sure if coming up on January she'd still be wanting to do it. And I said, well, right now, I don't know. I said, I think so. And she goes, well, I would probably not be involved in it from January on. And she goes, you'll have to get a sound person. You have to hire a bartender. And I'm like, well, fuck all that. I mean, I don't even want to hire the fucking comics for this thing. I barely want to show up and do a goddamn set. And now all of a sudden I'm going to be a fucking entrepreneur. I mean, I see the hassle she goes through trying to put together her fucking show. And I see the hassle I go through just trying to book 2 fucking comics and get headshots from them, for fuck's sake. So I was like, nah, man, if I got to get a bartender and a sound person, I'm pretty much fuck all that. You know, I'm out. And she goes, well, I'll still come. She goes, I would still be involved, but you would have to be the one who handled it. I go, right now, I got to be honest. I don't think I'd want to, but let me talk to other comics and see if they'd want to take it over or if someone would want to partner with me or something. I go, I don't want to just say, officially I'm done. And she said, okay. And, you know, we still didn't get to talking about this show or anything. And so I was at a car wash when she called me. And at the car wash, you pay. And then at the end, you know, it's a hand wash. So these guys do the inside and outside of your car. They armor all it. And I always ask for extra lemon air freshener because I want extra lemon. I demand it. I want my car to smell like lemon for 2 fucking weeks, man. And I always tell the woman when I pull up, hey, I want mucho limon. And she's like, yeah, it's fantastic. And she's always gracious and wonderful. And she writes it on the ticket. But to them, like, extra lemon means 4. And I mean 14. Like, I mean, I want a fuck ton of lemon, man. I want a tree. Jam a whole fucking tree in there. You ever see Lemonhead candies? You ever see the guy on the box with that giant fucking lemon head? You know what? Put him in my backseat and hit him with an axe. I want this whole fucking car to smell like citrus for the rest of my goddamn life. So inevitably, I have to have that conversation with the Hispanic people who handle the back end of your car wash. In the beginning, you know, they've got the lovely people in the front who are like, yeah, what do you want? What do you need? And then at the end, unfortunately, they have the guys who floated over on a flotilla from Mexico only to be living their lifelong dream of washing my fucking car and being told not enough lemon. I get it. I'm a pain in the ass, but I try not to be. And hey, look, I tip $5. I mean, I try to be a good guy. So I'm always like, can I get extra lemon? Whenever I have to have this discussion, they do the car and I walk up to them and I know I'm going to have to go, may I have extra lemon? They go, oh yeah, see, we did more extra lemon. I'm like, no, more lemon, like mucho limon, like a bunch, like a fuck ton of lemon. That's what I want. Is fuck ton, is there a Hispanic equivalent of fuck ton? Is there a Spanish version of that word? I don't know. Chinga tone? I don't fucking know. I'm going to make it up. So they waved at me. My car was done. And I said to Lily, I said, all right, well, look, I have to go negotiate with these people over lemon. So give me a second. And she goes, for what? I said, well, you know, I want to, we're still talking. And she goes, oh no, I'm done talking. I said, what do you mean? She goes, well, I said everything I needed to say. I asked about 2020 and that's all I needed to hear about. I went, oh, okay. Well, I mean, can you just hold on a second? Cause I'm getting my car. She goes, no, I told you that's it. That's all I needed to discuss. So, and I went, and you know me, I'm a child. So I went, okay, bye. And she said, bye, and hung up. And I was pissed. I'm like, what do you, so we talked about your thing, but I mean, there's clearly an unspoken thing that we need to discuss. It's just kind of lurking. Oh, can you hear my neighbor? Oh, he's slamming his phone around. All right. This is what happens when you record in the afternoon at my house, at my place, when you don't have a studio, when you don't have a life or a professional fucking space. Don't crawl in your head. Stay out of it. So I was pissed because that's what I do. I get pissed. Rather than talk about it or think rationally or go, hey, look, I'd like to speak with you. Instead I went, fine, bye. I have the fucking phone like an idiot. So then I negotiate for mucho limon. And the woman's like, K? And I'm like, no, lemon, more lemon. Yes, see, more lemon. No, I need more lemon, please. It's just this fucking, it's a circus. It's always this discussion. So she ran in, she got more lemon. I placed them around my car. And then by the time I sat in my car, Lily had texted me back. And she's like, hey, if you want to talk, I only had to talk about 2020. So I was done. She goes, but if you want, you can call me back. So I'm like, oh, okay, good. So I called her back. And like I said, was it last Friday? I think it was. Was it last Friday or no, the Friday before? When was it was 2 weeks ago. It was the 28th. 28th was a bad day for me. And so she said, was it the 28th? Yeah, it had to be. Fuck. I don't care. I don't have my fucking thing out here. This is what happens when I don't tell you shit. You know what I mean? Stuff goes away and then I forget the dates. So I called her back and I said, hi. And I said, oh, she's like, hey. I said, no, I had to negotiate for lemon, whatever the fuck. And she's like, okay. I said, no, we need to talk. And she goes, well, about what? And I said, well, we got to talk about the show. I said, I apologize for hurting your feelings when we, it's been, and she just goes, oh no, I can't talk about this. I said, what? She goes, no, I don't want to talk about this. I said, what do you mean? And she said, I don't. She goes, you're who you are. You don't think you did anything wrong. And I've accepted that. That's fine. I've moved on. And I said, all right, but I don't know what that means. I don't, you gotta, and she's just like, no, I have no interest in discussing this. You are who you are and you said what you said and that's it. And I've accepted it. And I again was just fucking stunned because, and look, I'm sure she's just as stunned that I said the thing I said after 14 years of friendship or whatever. And I hurt her feelings and I attacked her relationship, even though I didn't mean any of that. But now I'm stunned that you know me, you've been part of this show for 10 fucking years, and you've laughed along when I've said dumb, crazy shit about myself and everybody else in the fucking world, and now You're just now thinking I am what I am and that's all what I am. You know, you've sat by my side and been with me on it. And look, maybe she's changed as a person. Maybe she doesn't, you know, maybe all those years she didn't approve of it. And now she's just finally going, hey, fuck, I'm sick of it, man. I don't want to hear you say this shit anymore. I don't fucking know. All I know is that there were unanswered questions that I needed answered. But when she said to me, hey, look, I don't want, you know, you're who you are and you're going to say what you want and I get it. And that's fine. I don't agree. And I figured the decisions were made for me. Because I don't want to be on a show where I'm constantly apologizing to the other person in the room for what I said. So so then we talked some more because I had some other show business to talk about. And she was like, okay, yeah, just let me know. Just keep me posted. I said, okay, but then there's this and you might be involved. She goes, yeah, whatever. I don't, you know, just let me know. I mean, she could not have been, in my opinion, less interested. And, you know, I got to admit, I felt I was kind of fucking mad. And this is another thing. I have such a rage issue and I have such an anger issue all the time with everything that I try not to get mad. I try not to reveal my anger. And that's why I swallow it and I swallow it and swallow it. And that's why when I go, fine, bye, and I hang up the fucking phone. Or I go, are you serious? And I storm out of the house with my computer. You know, because Lily threw me out of her house year 2, I think it was, year 2 or year 3. And I deserved that. I was acting like a fucking asshole. Karen was with me. I was being a dick. And Lily's like, get out of my house. I don't need this shit. And I was like, what? And she goes, get out of my fucking house. So I went out to my car and I cooled off. And then I went and knocked on the door. She's like, no, that's it. I'm not doing it this week. And I get it. I got it then. I understood it. But this time, I didn't. I felt it was worth the discussion. I felt it was... and I know that sounds dangerously close to, hey, man, I'm going to do what I want and everybody has to tolerate it. That's not the case. If I could have heard a side of her telling me why I was completely wrong, I would have listened. I didn't agree. Like I said, all I heard was, you just told me my boyfriend's weak. You just threw away my relationship. You just told me and I'm like, I didn't do those things. I didn't mean that. It wasn't about you. You know, if you want to boil it down, it was about me feeling that I was inferior to somebody and lashing out. And wondering why I was when all I tried to do was good things, in my opinion. It's convoluted, and my head's a fucking spider web. And if you get caught in there, eventually some guys are going to crush you with a rock because you're going to scream for help. So then, you know, I picked Lily up Monday. She had the teas, and I had 20/20/20 this Monday. And she texted me and said, can I get a ride to the club? And I said, yes, you know, because I love Lily. Lily's my friend and she loves me. I'm her friend. And I would do anything she asked. If she needs help, I'll help her. So I picked her up, and in my head, I was like, this is a pretty good time to have this discussion, probably on the way to the club. And, you know, LA traffic being what it is, we'd have a good 45 minutes in the car to maybe hash some stuff out. And then we got in the car and we talked about her health and her life and her decisions and things that she's got going forward. And we talked about all of it, and then we pulled into the club of the parking lot of the club. Like, I didn't even get to it. I didn't get to bring up the show. I didn't get to get her opinion on it. I didn't get to, you know, and I didn't get to talk to her again. I'm answering these things because people keep writing me and saying what's going on, and people keep saying, and I say to you that it hasn't been discussed, but at the same time, if I'm, you know, I haven't talked to her about it. All right, that's the bottom line. So you ask and I'm answering. I don't have an answer for you. And I know that looks chicken shit. It's my show and I should make a decision. You know, but I like doing the show with Lily in the room. I think it's cool. I think she adds a lot. And I like having an audience to spin off of and play off of. And maybe it keeps me from doing this kind of fucking show where I wind up crawling inside my own fucking skull and then emerge and tell you a bunch of garbage that you don't need to hear or don't want to hear. You know, when she's producing, I really like it, you know, but also, I mean, she's got her own thing and her own life and her own stuff going on. And sometimes I feel like I'm imposing upon her, you know, and maybe that's inside of me as well. I don't know. But the point is, I don't know if Lily's coming back. I don't know if Lily wants to come back. And truthfully, I don't know if I want Lily to come back. We'd have to talk about it and figure out everything. And I wanted to have that talk. But the thing is, it's been 6 weeks and I haven't had the talk. And you guys are all writing me and going, what's going on? What's going on? So there you go. That's what's going on. That's where we're at with that. So I only left my house this week, like I said, Monday, because I had to do 20/20/20 and I had to pick Lily up. And, then 20/20/20 was canceled. We showed up to do the show. I had one of the comedians cancel on me at 3 o'clock Monday afternoon. I replaced her with my friend Sharon Houston, who is awesome. And then we all showed up and there was no crowd. We did not sell any tickets to 20/20/20 this week. And that also sent me scurrying into my skull. That was a setback that I didn't anticipate because, we've been doing this for over a year and we've been getting crowds and even if we get small crowds sometimes, look, I've done a show there for 3 people. But those 3 people, along with Lily and Bella on sound and the comics and the fucking bartender, you got people to talk to and people to have a show. But with nobody in the room. It was so funny because we were sitting there waiting and I told Steve and Sharon, I go, look, we haven't sold any tickets. And then at one point this one dude came in with a girl and I called them the Top Knot twins because they both had top knots, which was fucking bananas. And Lily's like, hey, there's a comedy show. You want to stick around for it? I don't even think she charged them. And that's, dude, you don't want to do a comedy show for 2 people who wandered in and you don't charge them because then they're just going to fucking, they don't, there's nothing invested. They don't feel like they have to like it or conform to the rules of a comedy audience because they just fucking walked in and they were booked just like I was, essentially. So in their mind, we're on equal footing. And I was like, so Lily's like, hey man, there's 2 people here. And Lily's, again, she's very much a producer. She's like, hey man, if you got 2 people that want to laugh, you should do a show. And I'm just like, nah, sometimes it's soul crushing to do a show for 2 people. Especially 20 minutes each. Like if we were each doing 5 minutes, that's a totally different fucking story. I can do 5 minutes of my goddamn sleep and I'll do it for 3 snakes and a dog. But fucking to go the other route, you know what I mean, and try to do 20 minutes for a small crowd, that's not good. So I talked to, and I even talked to Steve and Sharon and I said, look, what do you guys think? And Sharon had to book early because she had to go to another set. And she's like, well, whatever. The point is the consensus was, I was the final word. Like I didn't want to do it. And here's the funny thing. Like I had said to Lily, like, I don't think I want to do this. I wanted to cancel it. Like I didn't even want to make Sharon and Steve come out, but Lily's like, no, man, I'm contractually obligated to put on a show. And I get that. I totally get it. So I said, all right, that's fine. We can do this. But again, it's because I don't say what I mean because I don't want there to be a confrontation. I don't want there to be a problem. I would say, look, I don't think we should do a show. Look, maybe it's best if we don't do a show. Instead of going, look, we're not doing a show. I'm not doing a show for 2 fucking people. I could have been assertive about it and said that, but instead I always dance around it because I don't want to have a confrontation. I don't want Lily to go, well, no, you're doing a fucking show. Because then I'm going to be like, fuck, I don't want to do that. And this is a problem with me in real life. It's a problem with me all over the place. I do it with Dave too. Dave will say something and I'm mad about it or I don't like it. And I'll just sit there in silence and it'll build up and I'll be pissed. Because I don't want Dave to go away. I don't want Lily to go away. I don't want you guys to go away. I don't want anybody to go away. So and that's why this show has always been unvarnished. I was like, fuck it, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want. It was the one place where I never had to hide shit, where I could just talk and be funny and not care. And I would always joke, and then people would write me and they'd leave. And there's been listeners who've taken off, they've unfriended me, they've bailed. And I've always been like, well, that's just the way it is. That's who I am on the show and that's the way it goes. So that's that with that situation. But I also did not talk about it for so long because I was, I'm embarrassed. I was looking at Jill's Twitter account. I kept looking and reading it because punch, hug. I would walk through all the punches just to get a hug. And I would see her post stuff and I would see her, and I knew it was about me. And I would always have this thing where I would go, well, maybe I could see her for a couple days, or maybe it's heroin and Hershey bars. I've told you, I should not have them. I should walk away. I shouldn't be around them. It's almost like being a dry drunk. If a dry drunk was in a bar all the fucking time, he'd just be like, I gotta get the fuck out of here before I have a fucking Greyhound. And I don't even like Greyhounds. I don't like grapefruit juice. Why the fuck would I order that? Just because it's got booze in it. It's got to be that kind of feeling. I was addicted to Jill, and also I was addicted to not feeling alone. So I would read her Twitter and I'd see, and also this is fucking lonely and nonsense, but it was important to me that she didn't hate me, that she liked me. And I don't even fucking know why. She did. Look, there's a litany and there's a bunch of shit, and And then she'll tell you, again, she'll tell you, I'm a monster, I'm a narcissist, and I'm all these fucking things. I got news for you. I can say the same fucking things. And I can point out examples. She can point out examples. I mean, it was a 4-year land war, this wrapped up in a sexual relationship. It was awesome. I fucking loved it. You know, and I loved chaos. I got to admit, you know, when you walk away from chaos, you miss it. I miss texting all day with Jill. I miss texting her sexts. I missed sending her photos and videos of me. I miss getting them back. I miss hearing from her. You miss the constant. You miss the routine. Unfortunately, the routine a lot of the time was she didn't like something I did and she'd run away and be silent, and then I'd get mad and I'd run away for 2 weeks, but it was chaos and it was something, and it was something to have. It's so funny. I literally will sit now and I'm like, I should be writing jokes. I should be working. I should be doing anything. But in reality, I'm like, well, fuck, I'll just go check her thing. Because that's what I would do normally. I would have checked her. I would have spent forever trying to figure out, reading her texts and going, well, where is she? Well, what's going on? Well, what is this guy doing here? And what did he mean? And why it was something I threw myself into very, very enthusiastically. And so, like I said, she was blocked and I could check out all of her stuff. Then, you know, I haven't talked to her after I did the show in May, the Coffee and Rice show. She wrote me, and she wrote me a very long email telling me why I was wrong and defending herself and saying that everything I said on the show was wrong and how much it hurt her that I would laugh at her about it and that I would laugh about. I'm just like, motherfucker. Here's my favorite part of the email. It just said, for you to say that this is, because she would say, fuck it, I'll just say it. She wrote me and said, hey, look, I'm not fucking your friend from high school. And then she had a long word salad to explain why they were together. Saying, though, that they weren't together. They were just friends and he was in town visiting, not acknowledging the fact that on Facebook she said they'd been together for a month, and not acknowledging the fact that one time on Twitter, and again, because I read her Twitter and I saw this, someone wrote on Twitter, sex so good, they rope it off like a crime scene. And Jill replied to them, yep, especially when your boyfriend's a cop, with an exclamation point. And Jeff's a cop, like I said. So I knew, and so they're fucking. They just are. Or were, whatever the fuck. I don't know. So then I did the show about it. And then I get the email and she's like, that's so wrong. We were just friends, but she never acknowledged anything. She never acknowledged contacting Karen, none of it. And then she actually had the balls at the end of the note to say, so this isn't fair to me and it's really not fair to Jeff. And what I wanted to do was go out and stare at the horizon and see if I could see her balls, possibly from Wisconsin, just looming on the horizon, how big they must have been to tell me I wasn't being fair to them, to the guy who fucking skated in and possibly took my place. And the only reason I think he took my place is because you put up a photo of him with his arm around you and you writing, you've got a great thing now for a month. I mean, I don't think I'm wrong interpreting that. But also at the same fucking time, she would write shit like that, so I would read it and I would get fucking hurt because she's fucking bananas. And I played right into it. You know why? Because I'm bananas. We were a good match. We would have wound up killing one another. It would have been fucking amazing. Fuck boiling a rabbit. We would have both wound up in the pot together, chopping up carrots and using them as soap chips while we both slowly died like a frog in heat. Anyway, but I can't extricate from myself it because I love chaos. And I'm finding this out in therapy too. It's like when I was a kid, you know, coming home and finding a bunch of stolen goods and a guy with a gun in my house and my mom and boyfriends and drugs. And it was just, that's normal for me. Chaos is normal for me. What's not normal is to have some quiet relationship. You know, I mean, look, even Karen and I had 20 years of, I thought, normal. But when you think about it again, like I said, I wasn't committed in doing the right things. I mean, I was a guy who did what he fucking wanted. I would go out with my friends. I'd go to movies with my friends. I'd do whatever. And I'd say, all right, yeah, Karen, whatever you like. We never had shared interests except for food. I'd drag her out to cool food restaurants and she'd find restaurants. But she'd want to go to the Getty. She'd want to go to museums. And I never did it. You know, I mean, that was the chaos of that relationship, that we basically lived separate lives while we were together. So I constantly am looking for something to fill my day rather than the chaos that I had with Jill. And I've chosen to fill it with some of Jill's chaos and to spin my own fucking head around by reading her Twitter and her Facebook and, you know, and seeing, oh, that guy's back. Oh, this guy's back. Oh, I know that guy. Oh, remember that? Oh, you told me that guy wasn't a big, you know, whatever the fuck. And it's the same shit I did when we were together, except then I had a stake in it. Now I just have a stake in my heart. But I was weaning myself off of it. I was trying to. I was doing the best I could. Like I said, I used to go all the time, and then now I'd go a couple of times a day. I'd check in the morning. I'd check at night. You know, I'd do all that sort of stuff. Some days I wouldn't check. I actually would go a full day without checking, and I'd feel proud of myself. And then, of course, the next day, I would absolutely cook it up in a spoon and shoot it right into my fucking eyeballs. Literally, her Twitter would just put it right in a spoon and cook it up, and I would just fucking shoot it in. That's what I did. So on the 28th, you know, I told you I went and got my car washed after the gym, and then I came home, and I was going to go out, and I had to drive that day because I knew I was taking the 29th off because that was my birthday. And I got home, and I jumped in the shower. And when I got out of the shower, I'm getting dried off in my I will say this, I bring a speaker into the bathroom to listen to music. And I told you there's shower playlists, whatever the fuck. Well, unfortunately, I'm finding out that my AT&T Bluetooth, like sometimes it just quits. Like my internet will just quit for a minute. But unfortunately, it's long enough to cut off the Bluetooth, and so I don't get any more music in the shower. There's nothing worse than when I jump right in the shower and a song is playing and then it just stops. Because now I know I got like 8 minutes of no music, and I'm like, fuck. So that was one of the days where it quit on me. So I get out of the shower, I'm getting dried off, and out of the living room I hear Jill's song, which I've told you about is it's the Play It Again song by Luke Bryan. And she's still in my phone, and the song's still associated with her name. It's her ringtone and her text. I mean, I haven't heard it since January, but it went off. And again, like I said, I have not spoken to her since February. I haven't had contact with her since May, that email that she sent me. And then, I mean, I guess, I've had contact, and then I'm reading every fucking thing that she writes. But no personal back and forth. And I hear that, and I fucking, my heart fucking skips. Like, I don't know what that is or what that means. I mean, I know what it is, and I'm pretty sure I know what it means, but at the same time, I'm just confused, and I'm fucking soaking wet. And so I literally walk out of the shower soaking wet, and I come in, and I look, and she texted me on July 28th, and it's a video. I know because, you see her little face there next to her name. And I'm like, holy fuck, what the... And I'll be truthful with you. Normally, I would have taken a screenshot of it and sent it to Lily and gone, "Oh my Christ, what the?" But I haven't talked to Lily. I haven't, and she's again, like I said, she's probably sick of it, like anybody else I talk to about it is. So I got dried off. The song plays again because when you don't answer the first text, it plays. And I get dressed and I come out here and I stare at my phone. And I'm looking and I'm wondering and I'm thinking. And I won't lie to you. Part of me, when I saw it, I was like, Jesus Christ, what's happening here? But also, I was back in it. The rush was there. I always talk to you guys about when you talk to me and I said the TV came to life. The TV came back to life for me. A TV that had been dead since fucking February. A TV that I hadn't been able to turn on in 6 months. Came back to life. It was as if I had it sitting there on, waiting for a picture. And then the picture came in. So I sat and I looked and I'm like, what am I going to do here? What am I, fuck. I know what I'm going to do. I know I'm going to watch it. I mean, I have to. But I'm wondering what it is. And also there's part of me that was wishing she was here. Like I thought it was something for her to go, hey, look, I'm in California. I know it's your birthday. I mean, I don't, again, and that all seems implausible. Like I don't know what the fuck it would be. But like I said, there's that part of me. Like, I don't want any of the brain games and the bullshit and any of that, but what I do want is her naked on top of me. It's truthful, all right? If we're being truthful, that's what I'm being. Like, I can't stop thinking about that aspect of it. Because I love fucking. Like, I love sex, and I love giving and feeling somebody just fucking completely weak in my arms because of the way I made them feel. I love it more than anything. And, I haven't been doing a lot of chasing of that on my time. I mean, I've tried. I'm not going to get into it, but, not tried. I mean, I've had, I've talked to some people and gone back and forth and whatever. There's no point in getting into it. The point is, but I love that. I love sex because I also love love, and I want to be loved by somebody, and I also want to give them, like, that's what I want to do with Jill. Like, I told you, I just wanted her to fucking come all day and never be able to move. That was my goal. Was when she finally recovered and her legs were back, I could just go at it again and just leave her laying next to me, or on top of me, or me on top of her. Like, keep her just shaking and trapped and sweaty and sighing and breathing heavy and looking at me with wide eyes and going, Jesus Christ. That's what I wanted. All day. I never wanted to get out of bed. I wanted her miracle of a naked body within arm's length of me at all times. So when I saw that, all of that came rushing back. Then I watched the video, and Jill's beautiful. I mean, I've always said this. She always, that was part of it, was that it was always important for me that you guys knew how beautiful she was, because it also made me look good. Does that make sense? It's almost like showing off. Like, I loved having a gorgeous woman on my arm. It was important to me. It made me feel good and validated that someone like that could love someone like me. Now, as we got into it and I found out some things, I realized that perhaps the pedestal I had put her on was maybe a little too high. And there were things that I should have worried about. And also, that was my own pathology, in that I needed to be seen in a certain light. And I was willing to eat a ton of shit in order to be seen like that. Like, in the front, the veneer, everything was great. Behind the scenes, maybe not. Sometimes yes, a lot of times fucking no. And then when I started to tell you guys about that, she really got upset. Like, because I was exposing the business, almost like a wrestler. There's a thing called kayfabe. You keep kayfabe at all times. That's where you pretend that your enemies are your enemies and your friends are your friends, and you hate the other wrestler, when in reality, you're all working in the same job and you're friends. So they always say, don't break kayfabe. Well, when I started to talk about the shit that was going on with Jill, like when she left me at the ballpark in Minnesota, stuff like that, she was getting mad. She was like, oh my God, you're making fun of me to your friends. You're making these people think this. And I'm like, no. And I would tell her, I go, look, man, I'm armed with the truth. I'm telling them exactly what happened. You can say I'm a narcissist and a monster and all these different things, and that's fine. But I mean, you're going to need to eventually back it up. Because I mean, I've already talked about the fact that I cheated on you early in our relationship. And then I gave myself over to doing everything I could to be a better man and the best man for you possible. So, but she would always go to that. She would even tweet it, weeks ago. She'd be like, oh my God, how disgusting that somebody would cheat. How disgusting they would do that. And also, whatever, I'll get to that in a second. And this is, again, a lot of talking about stuff I probably shouldn't be fucking talking about. I should put the scab back on, right? I should just, there's no reason you guys should have to sit through and listen to all this, but I've been getting a lot of questions, and then I crawled into my fucking head, and now here we are. We're unleashed on a Thursday. So I get the text, I watch the video, and she says, hi, Mike, I know this is awkward, but you know how I feel about birthdays. I want to make sure that you're going to have the best birthday tomorrow, your 50th birthday. I know it's weird leaving. I hope leaving your 40s is a good thing, and I just want you to have the best day. And it was a general, nice, happy birthday greeting. Which, again, to me was fucking weird. And this might say something about me, but 4 weeks, you have called me a toxic narcissist, a monster, a liar, a cheater. You have told people on Facebook and Twitter how terrible I am. I'm sure you're telling all of your private friends, because I've been blocked by some of them who friended me after we became intimate. They blocked me now. So I know you're telling people every bad thing you could possibly imagine, because I sat there and I listened to you do it about all your exes to me. Your ex-husband, your other ex-husband, all these other dudes you dated, people who you were with. Everybody was a monster. Everybody was terrible. She told me all the bad things that they did. And now I'm just, and I got to be honest, I would always tell her, I'm not them. I'll be here. I'm not them. That'll never happen with me. And then it happened. And I think she had a lot to do with it as well. I mean, in my opinion, she made me look like that monster, because even when I would have normal requests about shit, and can you tell I'm not over this? Can you tell? And I won't let myself get over it because I keep visiting fucking social media, and then I get a text on that fucking on the 28th, and so so that text came in and it was like, hey, happy birthday, and she looked beautiful and all those things, and so I wrote her back. I waited till the end of the day, like I was trying to figure out what I was going to do. Look, I probably could have just said, thank you, that's very nice of you, I hope you have a good day as well. But I've been seeing her burying me on social media for fucking weeks and months. But also, I've been seeing her reach for me on social media for weeks and months. She probably doesn't even know this, but the day before she sent the text, she tweeted out, birthdays are special. Mine wasn't so much this year, but there's one coming up that I hope is better than them all. I knew that was about me. It was written right to me. She deleted it by the morning. That was like 2 days before my birthday. So I was going to answer her. Like I said, I did the wrong thing. Okay. I should have just said, thank you. I hope you're well. You know what I mean? Or I should have ignored it is what I should have fucking done. But instead, there's part of me that still wanted her, still wants her. And I thought if I expressed that, and I know all of you are cringing right now, where you're like, no, it's like a horror movie. Don't go in the closet. But the part of me that even wants part-time love, even wants some validation that she loves me or loved me, or because again, to see myself be portrayed as this horrible monster, it's not true. It's not fucking true at all. Did we have disagreements? Did things happen? Yes, but you know what? She owns a fucking ton of it, and I'm not going into it. But I mean, I've been like, she always, one of her things that she writes me in the email, she's just like, I know all of your listeners are making fun of me, but then she always says this. She goes, but you know what? A ton of your listeners have reached out to me to tell me that they get it and they understand and they know what happened with me and they know you're a bad person. They know you are these things. And again, like I said, I'm hearing that from her all the fucking time. You know, when she would send me an email, when we were dating, she would look at me and she'd go, in the middle of a fight over, and again, it would be a fight that started because of something she fucking did or whatever, or some bullshit, and then she'd just go, you know, if your listeners really knew who you were, they knew what a piece of shit you were, they'd fucking be pissed at you. They would never listen if they just knew the real you like I do. And she would say that to me, and it would just fucking crush me, because I'm like, dude, first of all, fuck the listeners. You think that? Like, you think that of me? I don't know if and look, I don't even know what I've talked about and what I haven't. One time she said to me, when we split up, that she was hearing from a bunch of listeners, and the listeners said to her, they knew that I was using her for her money and her looks. And that hit me in the fucking balls, because then I said to her, I go, who was it? And she wouldn't tell me. She's like, I'm not going to go into it. I want to, because you're just going to get mad. I go, I'm mad now. Tell me who the fuck that was. Because if somebody who claims to be my friend writes you and tells you that, I want to know who it is. And she would never tell me the name, because it never happened. It was untrue. It was bullshit. Nobody contacted her and said that. Which made it even worse. And I told her this later in one of our many back and forths. I said, that happened. And the worst part is you wouldn't tell me who it was, claiming to protect them, but it's because it never happened. But in reality, what that means then is you think I'm using you for your money and your looks. Either that or you knew it would be the one thing that hurt me more than anything. And I'll tell you what, money, whatever the fuck. Yeah, she helped me out, but I paid her back, whatever the fuck. And it's just, we had a long distance relationship. She knew my situation. But using her for her looks? I mean, yeah, I loved the fact that I had a beautiful woman in my arm, but, I ain't fucking ugly. I'm not just some fucking, I'm not some doofus nerd monster that you fucking deign to sleep with. I mean, I fucking spun you around like a top and made you feel like you'd never felt before in your fucking life. Or you're the best fucking actress in the goddamn world. Who knows? But I hated hearing that. I'm using you for your fucking looks. Get the fuck out of here. I'm not releasing this show. So I got that text and I like I said, there's parts of me that thought, I was like, well, maybe if I told her how I felt, like maybe if I said, hey, look, why don't we just fucking end all this and meet for 3 days? Let's go meet in Boston, or go meet somewhere for 3 fucking days in a hotel and just fucking go crazy. Just fuck our cares and our pain away, and then meet again the next month to do the same thing. Like I was going to turn her into a Mrs. Robinson or some shit. Like I wasn't thinking straight. I wasn't. Because again, it's that thing where you want to be desired, you want to be loved, and I want some recognition. Like if she would just say, you know, man, hey, I loved you. It didn't work out. I wish it did. You're a good man, and unfortunately things are different. Hold on. I'm sorry. I don't know if you heard my neighbor yelling there. I don't know why I need that, and I don't know why I need the puzzle of figuring out why she's talking shit about me all the time. Like I mean, look, I get it. Look, I'll tell you exactly why. Because she needs for me to be terrible, so she doesn't look terrible. She needs for people to view me as a monster, so she looks like the hero in this situation. And to me, I was just like, well, it ended. I wish it hadn't ended, but that's the way it was. And I told the truth about what the fuck happened. She just lobs a ton of fucking vitriol against me, and like I said, I'm sure her friends believe it. I get it. But at the same time, she's been doing this forever. Don't they see that everybody she walks away from is a fucking monster and terrible? I mean, I bought it. I bought it fucking forever. She had it, dude. Never mind. So I wrote her back. I shouldn't have. Should have ignored it, or should have been just written a nice, respectful thank you. But instead, I wrote, and I'm going to paraphrase because I don't remember it. And I just wrote, thank you, Jill. I said, you know, it was 100 degrees here this week. It made me think of when we were in Needles, and it made me go back and look at our photos from that time. You topless in the pool? Dude. And then I said, you know, when I got this text, it shocked me. Like I truly didn't expect to see your face. Because I was in the shower. I told her I was in the shower, and I came out and saw her face on the phone, and I didn't expect it. I said, and part of me wished that this text was from here. Because there's nothing I would have rather done on my 50th birthday than spend it with my face, and then I wrote some hardcore sex stuff. And then I sent it. I hit send. Shouldn't have. But there was no I love you, or no I miss you, no, you know, I just said, you know, I wish you were here, because I would basically wreck you. I just want to make you come all over my face. I mean, it was just like, whatever I wrote. And I sent it, and then, and I was instantly angry at myself. Instantly. Like, because I went, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? You'd done, I imagine it's like if an alcoholic goes to a bar after being sober for 6 months and just throws back a shot. And then goes, why did I do that? Now, look, granted, that alcoholic has spent the last 6 months going to bars and smelling the liquor. If you really want to analyze it that way, because that's what I've done. I've gone to her Facebook. I've gone to her Instagram. I've gone to, look, I don't even have to go there, to be honest with you. I go to her Twitter, her Instagram, and her Facebook. I was going there, but I didn't have to, because I have 5,000 photos of her. And I can't tell you how many times I would open up my iPhoto library and listen to one of our songs, and I would just scroll through the photos to the beat, making imaginary music videos of being with her and remembering what was good. But also at the same time, I would find texts from 2014 that I'd taken screenshots of when there would be some crazy bullshit going on, and she would try to involve me in it with some ex or some other guy. And I took the screenshots then, and I remember, and you can see me going, what do you want me to do, hon? You want me to get involved? You want me to take this guy out? Like, and now I look back and I just go, that fucking guy's just me. He was probably going through her Facebook and all that shit. I don't know if she had a Twitter at the time. I don't know what she fucking had. I told you, I didn't find out about her Snapchat for a fucking year. I didn't find out about her fucking Twitter for 2 years. So who knows what the fuck was going on? I don't know. But when I see those, I would see those texts, and I'd skip back really quick. No, go to the part where we're hugging and we're happy. Don't remember the fucking horrible, crazy shit that happened, because that'll just fuck with the fantasy. And that's what all this was. So I sent her that text, and then she did not answer me. I mean, I didn't hear from her at all for a week. And I talked to Shannon about it. And I told her, I go, look, I regret this. I'm so fucking mad at myself. Why did I send it? Because any recovering I was doing, any power that I had in silence was gone. And look, I wasn't truthfully silent. I was reading all of her stuff. I was. But now, when she didn't answer me, remember I told you I had eased off and I was looking at it like once in the morning and maybe once at night? I immediately stepped it back up and started reading all of it. I was checking 10 times a day. Checking her Twitter to see what she liked, to see if it was for me. Twitter, what she tweeted, who she was talking to, what she was doing. I mean, all of that. I was putting it out there. And I went into hyperdrive. It brought her right back in. I went on a fucking bender. I got Jill drunk. I absolutely went on a fucking bender, and I dove in and I read all of her social media, and on my birthday I unblocked her on everything. I unblocked her on everything because you know what? I put up a picture of me where I had shaved my beard, and I'd always planned on doing that. I'd always planned on getting my hair cut, and then I unblocked her on my birthday because I wrote that thing where I said done hiding, because in my head I was like, I'm healthy enough to handle this now. I'm healthy enough to go ahead and not block her and recover my life and not think about the past. But that was horseshit, because once I sent that reply, forget it. I dove right back into the chaos. And so I went and checked her social media, and I checked her Facebook and all that. And I should tell you this, this truthfully happened. You know, my birthday was the 29th, and then I got a notice on Facebook. She did not answer my text, okay? Days went by. And then I got a notice, and it said, you have a photo for your timeline to review. And I went and looked at it, and it's a photo of the two of us. It's one of her photos, and it's from Pittsburgh. And she's in this little yellow dress, and I had just gotten off stage, and I'm holding her hand, and all she wrote on it was, I love this man. And she wanted to share it to my timeline. This was like August 1st, I think. And I saw it, and she hadn't answered my text, but again, this is what we did. It was messages, and this is, I would read her messages, I'd read her Twitter, and I'd go, well, what does that mean? What does that mean? I mean, I might as well call Nicolas Cage and try to fucking steal a treasure map about her. You know what I mean? Like, I spend my whole time trying to figure out what she means. And that's my sickness. My sickness is trying to parse it. My sickness is trying to get the puzzle and figure out the bottom line. And my sickness is even being involved in not moving on, is immersing myself in the chaos, marinating in it, because that's part of me. I've been trying to fix every Monday for 3 fucking years, and I've done a really good job of fixing a lot of things. It's funny, there are listeners who'll write me, and they'll be like, man, I'm just like you, dude. I'm so fucking mad all the time, and I'm raging, and I just lose my temper. And you know, I'm not that guy anymore a lot of the time. Like, I don't want to be, and that's why I wonder if the show's worse for it. You know, because I didn't punch a guy at Trader Joe's, or I didn't get into a fight. I listen to old shows, and I'm like, I get into a fight at a fucking post office with a dude, and I yelled at some old lady. I mean, I see this shit, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing, man? I see those stories about myself, and I'm almost like a different species now. I'm still wound up really fucking tight, but I've been beat the fuck down too. And I'm 50, and I'm on the back 25, man, and I don't want to hit anybody, and I don't want to get hit, and I don't want bad shit to fucking happen. And you know what I want? I want someone to be nice to me. That's what I want. And I truthfully, I wanted Jill to be nice to me. I always wanted that. I was always trying to get her approval, and I wanted empathy, and I wanted those things, and I never got them. I couldn't get them from her. She would be. There would be moments that's horseshit to say I didn't get them. There were moments that were great, and they were phenomenal. I told you, I dream of them. I dream of her sleeping on my couch. And you guys, look, I know you don't want to fucking hear this. I get it. It's the same shit. Me going over and over, digging in the dirt, getting out a spade and just turning over the same dirt and planting the same plant and not growing, and then trying to come out here and plant it and replant it and replant it. And I understand. I hope I don't lose you over this. And I waited a fucking day to try to avoid this, and then I went, just be honest and do the thing that you're talking about. Get it off your chest. Fucking vomit it all over everybody and see if they're okay with it. I might lose you. If I fucking lose you this week, then that's it. But I've tried to be as truthful as I possibly can be. This is why the show is late, because I didn't want to do this show, and then I wind up doing this fucking show anyway. So she put up that photo on Facebook, and it said, I love this man, and I had to approve it for my timeline, and I didn't. Because I don't want to play Facebook. I don't want to be involved in that part of it. And also, I've walked away for a reason. I mean, I recognize that I can't start a relationship. Do I want to go hide in a hotel room and fuck for 3 days? I do, but I know she's no good for me. And I'm probably no good for her. She'll tell you that. She's been telling people for months. And, you know, the fact that she's run me down so much, like, in my mind, I'm like, well, then she can't ever entertain seeing me in front of her friends again. But that's horseshit, because, I mean, she would run down everybody to me, and then she'd embrace them, and she'd hang out with them. I mean, she'd unfriend people and tell me they were the worst and they were fucking awful, and then the next thing I know, there'd be a photo up with those people. And I go, well, you told me they were fucking awful. Oh, yeah, well, you know, we talked it out. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, all right. So, I mean, that's why. Maybe if I saw her, she'd be like, yeah, we talked it out. He's not a toxic narcissist. He's let me see the error of my ways. Bullshit. So I didn't hear from her, but then she put up that photo, and I didn't put it on my timeline, but I saw it, and again, it gave me a jolt. It was another hit. It was another spike. I was able to heat up that fucking picture in a spoon and shoot it directly into my veins. And I talked to Shannon about it. I told her I was angry about reaching out and all these things, and then I started to really amp up looking at her Facebook and her Instagram and her Twitter, and like I said, she was unblocked, so she knew she was unblocked, and that's why she went to put that photo on my timeline. And I looked at her Instagram, and I looked at her photos, I looked at all these things, and again, she was still burying me on Twitter, saying, you know, hey, when people walk away, they walk away for a reason. Don't turn back and just be better. But then she'd write, I woke up after a dream of you, and your fingerprints were right there on my waist where they've always been, where they belong. And that was the thing she and I had, was like, you know, these are my hips. But I'm not going to get into it. But so over the course of the week, I'm looking at things and I'm reading her stuff and I'm seeing it. And like I said, she's still ripping me. She's still, even after sending me the birthday note and all that stuff and me sending that text back, which she did not answer, and then trying to put an I love you, I love this man photo on my Facebook, she's still ripping me on Twitter. And then later on in the week, I'm reading it, and there's a tweet where someone writes, like she had liked once one other thing where she wrote, someone wrote, you know, I used to think that you should be friends with your exes if only for appearances, but fuck that, my ex is a piece of shit. And that got me really close to writing her once, like where I wanted to go, man, fuck you. Who the fuck do you think you are calling me out like that? You know that we both had a hand in this, and you know exactly what you fucking did, so quit trying to make yourself the goddamn hero of this situation. And I typed it all out. I actually wrote a huge fucking note. You know, my words have no effect on her. I mean, I've sent her long 3-page love notes before when we were dating, and that's what we do. It's the game. And so I typed out a big furious fucking thing when I saw that thing where she called me a piece of shit, and then I walked away. I go, don't do this, man. Don't send this. There's no reason. Maintain no contact, because I've read so much literature, dudes. I've read stuff on narcissism. I've read stuff on borderline personality disorder. I've read all of this shit, and I've cried reading it. I've read stuff about just staying away from your ex, and I've sobbed, going, that's me. I've fucking seen that happen. So sure enough, I'm reading her Twitter, and then one of her tweets, she likes a tweet from somebody. The person wrote, when your married friends try to fix you up with one of their single friends, what they're really saying is, hey, fuck this person and tell us how it is. And she liked that tweet, and she responded to it, and she wrote, it works, ... successfully, with an exclamation point. Now, again, I shouldn't give a flying fuck who she's fucking or what she's doing. She's got a new boyfriend. She's trying to flirt with other guys on Twitter. Whatever the fuck she's got going on, it's none of my business. I'm gone. I walked away. But, again, she texted me on that day, and I'm thinking there's an opening, and then all these other tweets are about me, and then she tries to put an I love you photo on my fucking Facebook, and I'm back in the web. I'm getting back sucked in, and I see that, and I scroll through, and I'm like, motherfucker, whatever. And then the next day, I get a direct message from her on Twitter. And it's a really long message, and she writes, hey, first here's my favorite thing she writes, Mike, ? Jill Bublet's here. Now, I know who you are, and this is also coming direct from your Jill Bublet's account. I mean, I don't think somebody else took it over to write me a note. But basically she says, I'm confused. Why would you like one of my tweets? And I'm like, I didn't like any of your tweets. What the fuck are you talking about? So I go look at my likes. And I liked her response to that tweet where she wrote, it works successfully. I liked a tweet where she wrote to somebody about fucking their single friends. I liked that because my fat thumb scrolled through it. And this is a dangerous game you play. Let me warn you, when you're stalking your exes and looking at all their old shit, be careful you don't like something. Because I'll tell you this happened like 2 months ago. We did the Monday Night Teas, and Lily posted a photo, and Jill liked the photo of me, and I think it was me and my brother from the Monday Night Teas. And Lily sent me a screenshot. She's like, whoa. And I was like, whoa. And then she unliked it. I'm sure it was a mistake because she was scrolling through and she saw it. But this is the mistakes we make when we stalk our exes, folks. See, now that's why I should just drive by with the lights on. Although eventually they'll hear your engine and know what it sounds like. But I got a hybrid. She'll never know I'm there. You fucking idiot. So man, she's like, you liked this tweet and I don't know why. And then she just unloads on me. And she's like, I don't know what's going on with you. I don't listen to your podcast anymore. And now look, I know that's a lie. How do I know that's a lie? Well, here's why. Because I did the show about Canada a couple of weeks ago. And I mentioned going to strip clubs in Canada, how I was married before, but maybe I was up for a night of vice at a strip club. And the very next day on Jill's Twitter, she liked a tweet from somebody that said, would you let your man go to a strip club? And she liked it. And then she replied to them and she said, absolutely! ! And then she also wrote, but if you're a 50-year-old man who's just begging your friends to bring you out to a strip club, that's just disgusting and gross. So who's that written to, folks? Let's guess. Who was that that message written for the day after I talked about it on my podcast that she no longer listens to? And I know you don't give a fuck about this, and yet here I am telling you about it. God damn it. Turn this show off immediately. So I know that's a lie. I don't listen to your podcast anymore. And then she writes, you held me up to public ridicule. And she put in quotation marks, your fans, because I gave an old friend of yours a tour of the city. I mean, all the same shit where she's like, she's done nothing wrong and I've done everything fucking wrong. And then she basically writes, but that's okay. We gave people hope with our relationship and now I hear from all your friends and they get it. Like, I don't even have to solicit anything from them. They write me and they tell me they know what I went through and what I'm going through. And they're, that was always her thing. You guys were writing her. People out there, you guys were writing her and telling her things, secret things about me. And I'd say, who? And she'd go, well, I don't want to tell you who. And it's gaslighting bullshit is what it is. It's fucking garbage and nonsense. And it's a way to make me unstable. Hey man, somebody in your inner circle is talking shit about you. I'm not going to tell you who, but I'm just warning you. I mean, it's just horseshit. And you know why I know it? Because I saw her do it to other people she knows. It's gaslighting nonsense. And it was funny, she would then say to me, you're gaslighting me. Every time I say something, you're telling me the wrong thing. And I go, no, I'm telling you truthfully how I feel. But because you think you feel that way, you're saying that I'm just taking it. Well, nobody cares. You care, everybody cares. So she writes this long fucking note. And then near the end of it, she, she's telling me, whatever. I hope you're happy. You walked away to be happy. I understand that. But you know what? I know I'm a good person. Whatever. The same shit. And then I wrote her back. And, should I even read you what I wrote her? It doesn't matter. None of this fucking matters. The point is I wrote her. I shouldn't have. I should have just let that fucking thing speak for itself. But then I wrote her back. And I said, hey, and I will tell you this. I just wrote back and wrote, Jill, ? Mike Schmidt here. Because it was just so dumb. Just that fucking weird, I don't know you anymore bullshit. Hey man, we shared fluids for 4 fucking years. Don't pretend you know who the fuck I am. And I'm sure it's her greatest regret, but I don't regret a second of that part of it at all. So I wrote her and I said, look, I didn't mean to like that tweet. It was an accident. I said, I'm sure my fat thumbs as I scrolled by. I said, believe me, the last thing I do is like a tweet about your married friends getting you laid. Also she wrote this. She said, I sent you a birthday message. I don't know if you received it. I just wanted to make sure that you know that I meant it. In case you didn't see it, I meant what I said. I hope you had a great birthday and I hope that things are really well for you going forward, whatever. So now look, I replied to her birthday message. I told you what I sent her and it said delivered. So there's another lie. She's like, you never replied. I'm like, well, okay. So I read her back and I say, hey, look, I did reply to your message. Maybe I'm blocked on your phone, but I replied and it said delivered. If you want, I'll resend it. I said, it's a little bit racy. It might make you blush, but I had to be honest when I typed it. And then I told her about one of her Instagram photos, how hot she was in it. Because again, I'm damaged. I can't be a grown-up. I still have to play the game. Now I'm in. Now I'm waist deep. Now you want to do this again where I pretend, we're pretending again? I'll pretend. I'm happy to do it. If it means that I get my Hershey bar, if it means I get 3 days here, if I can propose that or if I can talk about it, because I'm feeling her out. Because again, she's liking on Twitter sex stuff and all this, and I know it's about me, and I know you think I'm bananas and crazy, but this was what we did. I knew enough about her within 4 years to know that was how she would communicate. She did it. We would fight all the time because on Facebook, like we wouldn't talk in the daytime. She'd be ignoring my text. And then she'd write, oh my God, I have to go to the doctor because my broken arm is acting up again. I probably have to go through 6 months of rehab. And I'd write her back and I go, what are you putting that on Facebook for? How do you not write me? Oh, well, I didn't hear from you this morning, so I was pretty sure you didn't want to hear it. Oh my God. Oh my God. It was a game we played through social media. Social media is the death of that. I mean, it's just awful. I wish I could say I wasn't complicit, but I did the same fucking thing because I'd read her shit and I'd overreact. I'd read her Twitter. I'd see men liking her photographs or men writing her, and I'd ask her what it was about, and she'd go, oh my gosh, what are you so worried about? But it would happen all the fucking time. It would drive me crazy. Fuck. And I'm not gonna, whatever. So that's a lie. She's like, she never got the response. So then I wrote her, and I'm like, I did respond. And then she writes me the next day, and she said, because I said, you know, it's when I said, Jill, Mike Schmidt here, I said, it makes me laugh that you think I would forget who you are, and that also this message didn't come from your account. So she wrote me, she goes, I'm surprised that you know who I am. You left me to go be happy. You left me because I was so terrible, and you went to go be happy, and just victim garbage. And again, hug, punch, hug, punch. You know, you wanted to go and have a better life for yourself, and you wanted to do these things. I never cheated on you. I rubbed your back. I took care of you. I never cheated on you ever. I never cheated on you. I never did this. You know, I was good to you. You never made an effort. You were difficult. These things. Hug, but I love you. I love you more than anything. I loved you more than anything in the world. But yes, you were difficult. You made it so hard for me. You were the most challenging thing in my life. But I love you, and I miss you so much. I mean, just hug, punch, hug, punch. That's all it was. And I'd read... or punch, hug, more like, you know, and I would see it and I'd be like, God damn, punch, hug. But all the hugs I was loving and all the punches I would scoff. All the punches I would scoff and all the hugs I would go, yes, more please, more. And then she writes, I did get your response. I did get the response you sent me on your birthday. It was very awkward. I treated it the same way you would treat it when I would get stuff like that from men when we were dating. It was too awkward. Now, I should be honest with you, I never knew she got hardcore sex texts from men when we were dating. I just knew that she was getting asked out, and I knew that one guy sent her cock photos. And she, you know, and then she stayed friends with him, of course. But then I read that and I was like, oh, well then you never told me about that. You told me about all the other shit. That seems weird. Or are you just saying it now to hurt me? Who the fuck knows? I don't know. But why am I examining? Why did I answer? Why am I telling you about it now? And then she wrote at the end of the note, but I love you. I love you more than anything in the world. You're the sexiest man I've ever known. And I want you to know you will always have love from me here in Boston, coast to coast, wherever you need it. You mean so much to me. And someday some woman is going to be as lucky as I was to have the sexiest man in the world, give her all the things that I had and that I wanted. And I'm paraphrasing, but it was a lot. That was the final paragraph. And then she wrote dude with a heart icon. So that was the ultimate, you know, punch, and then a final paragraph of huge hug. And I read that to mean there was an opening to get together for 3 days. Again, it's a terrible thing to be addicted. It is a terrible thing to convince yourself that you can do things you've never been able to do. You know, I fundamentally changed who I was with her. And some of it I liked. I wanted to be very domestic with her. I wanted to take care of her. I wanted to do all the things I never got to do with Karen because I didn't. But then it went the other way. It was never enough. I mean, and then, you know, all the fact, whatever, I'm not going to get into it. I mean, I could bore you to fucking tears. I could talk about it for months. I've talked about it for years. And I'll never figure it out. I'm learning. Like I said, I'm reading books, a lot of literature, a lot of talking, a lot of figuring it out. But at the same time, there's a lot of bodies in my wake because I would tell people about it and eventually they'd just kill themselves and go, I can't listen to this anymore, man. Get the fuck out. Walk away. Walk the fuck away. So she wrote all that really lovely stuff at the end of the note, and I was very happy. That was the boost I needed. That was the kick. You know, my thyroid kicked in and I got this total pleasure boost and I'm like, oh my God, it was my love drug showed up. And I was like, great. She still thinks I'm the sexiest man she's ever known. She loves me and even if this was goodbye, it was a good goodbye. It was because she even said, you know, I know some other woman is going to be lucky as I was and I love you. And I was happy. I was very happy. And I was driving when it came in, so I couldn't answer. And I got home Sunday morning, And well, I should say another one came in while I was driving Sunday morning, because I drove till 6 in the morning. And at 5:30 a.m., 12 hours later, I got another direct message from her. And it said, by the way, or no, P.S. All those times you looked me in the eyes and you told me, and then she tore me apart. And called me a liar and made stuff up. She said that people from my inner circle had come to her. She didn't seek out answers, but they came to her. People warned her. And they came and they told her that I had lied, that I had had multiple affairs, that I'd been having affairs the entire time in the beginning of our relationship and towards the end. There were multiple women and different things. And she goes, so I know that. And this came from your inner circle of friends, so I know all of it is true. So when you think about telling people that you're a great guy and you think about saying over and over that you're a good person, remember that you're lying to the very people who know the truth about you and have come to me to tell me these things. I was fucking sick to my stomach. I read it and I was so fucking mad. So fucking mad. Because here's the thing. In the old days, like I said, I would have gone, who the fuck wrote her? Who wrote to tell you this? It's lies. Honey, it's lies. There's no way. None of this shit happened. I'm telling you right now. Believe me. Don't believe some stranger. Who was it? I'll prove it wrong. Just like when the person said I was using her for her money and her looks. Who was it? I'll confront them and they'll tell me. I'll prove them wrong. And she'd go, I'm not going to tell you. It was gaslighting bullshit meant to keep me unstable and meant to always keep me thrown off. So you could never feel stable or comfortable in your relationship. There was always something wrong, always some chaos, always some mess, because she prefers to live in chaos. She prefers, and also this is straight projection, because I tell you what, look, these are assumptions, this is bullshit. Hey man, I thought she was going out on me the whole time we were together. That's why I would get freaked out about these dudes. I mean, there are stories I could tell you where she stayed out to 4:30 in the morning, stories where some guy, she got so drunk, a guy put her to bed. I mean, like all these different fucking things. And I stayed. I fucking stayed. There's shit that happened 2 years ago, and I stayed. And now I look back on it, and I'm like, this is all, like I said, I'll read old texts, like I said, from 2014, which, yes, I know I need to throw those away. But I have to go through my fucking iPhoto in order to do it, because they've all been entered in there. But there's shit like, stuff where she would beg me to block somebody on Facebook because they were going to tell a bunch of lies about her to me. And I think back and I go, this is all true. That's why she kept me from her friends. She would badmouth her friends to me all the time. She would tell me they were liars, or this person was a drunk, or and you should never, oh my God, they're so bad. She would tell me that about her family. She would tell me her family was bad and this and all these terrible things from her childhood. And I would hear it and I'd be like, fuck man, honey, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And now I don't know what the fuck to believe. Because I met her family and they were lovely. I mean, I thought they were great people. I enjoyed them very much. They sent me Christmas gifts. They didn't have to fucking do that. I like, part of me, it's that thing now where when all this ended, because I know she's destroying me to all these people, and I want to write them and go, hey, look, you guys know I'm okay, right? I'm a decent fella. I'm not bad. I mean, but I know I've been destroyed in all those people's eyes. I know. Like, there was part of me that I was like, I want to reach out to her exes and find out if any of the shit she told me was true. Any of it. I don't know. I would love to fucking, because again, you guys are all writing her. All of my friends are writing her and telling her all these bad things about me. Fuck, part of me is like, I should get on the case. But I know it's all bullshit. It's all garbage. All of it. It's gaslighting. It's instability. And it's a way a narcissist controls you. Because she's calling me a narcissist all the fucking time. Dude, get a mirror. Get 2 mirrors. Get 4 fucking mirrors. Look at them. I mean, there's this thing called triangulation I learned about. There's all these things I've read, because I truthfully asked my therapist, am I a narcissist? Am I a bad person? Am I these things? I mean, I would talk about them, and I mean, I got bad traits. I got stuff I do that's wrong, but I know who I am inside, and I care about people. I still care about her. That's the fucking weirdest thing. But I said this to Shannon, and it's totally true. She'll be like, well, what's it gonna take for you to walk away? I said, I really don't know. I don't know why my heart won't disengage, why I can't stay mad at her. Because inside of me, I need acceptance and I need love. And I had it from her and I want to get it back. It's approval. It's a child looking for approval. It's a child looking for open arms to fall into. And I had them with her for a while. But at the same time, It's the white knight in me that tried to save my mom from my dad trying to break her fucking arm. It's the white knight in me that tried to save my mom from my older brother when he would throw couches around the house. I don't want people to go away. I want to save people from their hurt. And I see her, and in my mind, I think she's hurting. I think she's hurting deep inside. And I don't know if she's hurting over me or just her whole life or anything. You know, I loved her and I loved her kids, and I wanted to be a stable presence. I wanted to do everything I could, but eventually it just got to be too much. I kept walking away because there was so much of me that was being consumed and destroyed, and I was changing who I was, but I didn't feel like I was getting the same respect. And fuck, this is a lot of nonsense for you to listen to. It's a lot of, but it's why I couldn't do a show. I got that note from her on Sunday, and that I fucking hid. I wanted to run away. Because it just showed me that within 12 hours telling me that she loved me and I was important and I was the sexiest man and I was so, and she would always have love for me from coast to coast, and it would always be there for me, and that's comforting. And that was the hit. I cooked it up in a spoon and I shot it directly in. It was fucking heroin and Hershey bars, and I shot it in and I saved it. I savored it, and then 12 hours later, I got a bad hit. 12 hours later, my Hershey bar had worms in it. 12 hours later, I cooked up a hit and it was too much. I had a fucking bad trip, and I spent the night, you know, my knees under my chin, throwing up, hoping I'd get through it. Because for you to tell me, again, it wasn't that I believed it. I didn't believe what she wrote. Okay, I didn't believe that. What I believed was that it showed me clearly just how troubled she was. That you would make up some bullshit that my inner circle of friends, because look, I know my friends, all right? You guys, I think I know a lot of you, and if some of you are out there calling me out, like I said, I get iTunes reviews that fucking destroy me. People might hate me. I don't fucking know. People might hate listening to this show. That's fine. I hear that. And you might hear me and you might go, fuck this guy. You know, he fucks up. He does this all the time. He can't get out of his own way. He steps on his dick. Well, that's what this show is. It's a chronicling of me trying to get my way through life and make it work out. And yeah, I make mistakes. Yeah, I fuck up. Yeah, I do things that hurt myself, and I intentionally hurt myself sometimes. And I know what I'm doing is wrong. I'm not dumb. I'm a smart person. And I know when everybody tells you that they're smart, they're not smart. But hey, look, go listen to year 3. I got an IQ test. I was pretty bad. I was pretty smart. I'm okay. But you know what, man? Emotions in your brain fuck you up. And your past fucks you up. And it just sits there and it lurks and it comes out at the most inopportune times. And for me to get that note, because again, I was on a high. I spent 12 hours feeling loved, knowing that she loved me. Now, did it mean we were getting back together? No. Did it mean that I could possibly talk her into flying to Denver or somewhere and meeting me in a hotel room for 3 days? I thought that. Even though she wrote, you know, she's like, I didn't even say that. She goes, I apologize. I did tell you that she said she got the response to her birthday video. That's another lie. There's at least 5 lies. She's calling me a liar and a cheat all the fucking time. There's at least 5 lies in these things that she wrote me over the weekend. And normally I would just I'd be sad and I'd be like, oh my God, how can I fix this? How can I change it out? But that note Sunday morning, man, it had the combined effect of making me go, you know what? Fuck you. How dare you write this to me and think I'm going to fucking spin my whole life around and think that people who love me would betray me to you? When the people who love me know what you did? Know who you are? How fucking dare you think that I'm that far gone? I mean, I'm far gone. The very fact that I'm writing back to her indicates how far gone I am. The very fact that I'm reading her social media indicates just how damaged I am inside. I mean, my head is fucked up. I'm not going to lie to you. And it was fucked up. And then she had she got in there with a fucking broom handle and spun it right the fuck around. I mean, she bruised it up really fucking good. She fucked me up too. And I've hidden that, where I'm like, oh, well, I've got my own problems and you're only responsible. And I am, man. I'm responsible. I stayed. I let it happen. I ate a fuck ton of nonsense because I wanted love. In exchange for the good moments, I ate a ton of bad. Because I wanted to be loved by somebody. And also, I hate the hassle. You know, the sex life part of it was fucking fantastic, and I loved it. And I was willing to take that part of it. And then the quiet moments with her, when I'd look at her tattoo on her ankle with our date on it, and I would be overjoyed. I would go, look, I belong to somebody. I'm loved by somebody. Somebody wants me enough to do that. And she'd be asleep, and I'd stroke her hair, and I'd tell her, man, I love you. I love you. I'm never leaving. I will stay with you. And I just wanted it to sink in by osmosis, but it never did. And so stuff would happen, and then I'd leave. And she'd go, I knew you were going to leave. I told you in the beginning. Like in one of the things she wrote me, she goes, I told you that during our relationship I thought that you hated me, and now it turns out that you did. Man, I never fucking hated her. I still don't hate her. I can't even get angry at her. You know, I should be. I should be fucking furious. I should be constantly angry and upset and worried and mad that I'm being painted as this fucking monster that I'm not. But in reality, all I want to do is save her from that feeling. Like I know it's fucking ridiculous. That's what I wanted. Like I said, there's part of me that just wants to be loved, but then there's also a part of me that wants to save her and let her know how loved she was. How I would have stood next to her, holding her hand on the beach at 75. I would have been there forever if she could have just fucking relaxed and understood and just stopped. So when I got that second note, man, it knocked me right in the fucking gut. It was a bad trip, and I hid from the world. I hid Sunday, like I didn't go drive. Monday, I had to go get Lenny, so I went and got him in Long Beach, and then I had to go do 20/20 or I wouldn't have left my house. But I came home, you know, I hid from Anchor. You know, I got Anchor stuff, and I let it throw my dick in the dirt there, where I haven't posted to Anchor in a couple of days. And that's a gig, man. That's something I got to do, and I will. I got it. As soon as I finish this up and get it all posted, I will. I'll start again. But it really fucking wrapped me in a cocoon of darkness, and I know that sounds stupid, but it drove home the point that I can't fix this, and I can't fix her, and she believes things that I don't think are true. In my head, when I read her Twitter and I would get those spikes of heroin, when I'd get the hug instead of the punch, I'd go, well, there's hope. There's hope where I could actually get the Hershey bar. I could meet her and get her naked, and she would love me, if even for those hours that we were together naked. I could make her love me again. But for her to write that note where she said, I mean, literally, that my friends were telling her, and then at the end she goes, it hurts me so much to find out that this isn't real. Perhaps you're not real. Sad. Goodbye. And like I said, it knocked my dick in the dirt, and I waited a day, and then I wrote her back, and I said, I cut and pasted the paragraph where she had written how sexy I was, and she always would have love for me from coast to coast, and I sent that, and then underneath it I just wrote, I don't even know how the person who types this paragraph can then send me this completely made-up garbage you sent me 12 hours later. I said, this is nonsense, and you know it. Nobody called you. And I never slept with anybody else. You know everything that happened. Full stop. And I just wrote, this sounds a lot like projection. And in hindsight, I think you did that a lot during our relationship. Because she would disappear for like 10 and 12 hours, and then I'd say, where were you? And she'd start a fight with me. And every time I would talk to somebody, they go, you know she did something you didn't want to know about. That's why she deflected her. And I've read all this stuff, and I can't make assumptions. I don't know. She might have been a choir girl. She could have been a nun. I don't know. I know what my suspicions are, and I know what resides in my motherfucking black heart. So I wrote that to her, and I just wrote, hey, look, you know, because she had written another note to me where she's like, I came across some of your stuff in my house. That was in June, and I never replied again. I was doing a very good job of not replying until I saw her face, and when I saw her beautiful face, I went, you know what, fuck, I'm in. But I wish she'd sent me a photo of what was inside of her instead of the outside, because then I wouldn't have replied. I got the inside of her on that last fucking thing she sent me on Sunday. The outside is so gorgeous, and the inside is a fucking wreck. So I said to her, hey, look, you still got my stuff. I think it's my winter clothes. If you want to, send it to me. use my home address, because she had written me in June that she had it, and she wanted my P.O. box address because she wanted to send it there. I'm like, you got my home address. Quit this fucking bullshit first grade chess. You want it out of your house, throw it out or send it to me. You got my home address. So that's what I wrote her. I said, send it to my home address. And goodbye, Jill. That was the last thing I wrote. And I have not been to her social media since. I should block her. I will. I will. But the point is I have to block her, and then I have to stay away. Because like I said, I know all the fucking secrets. I know how to see her Instagram even if she's blocked, and her Facebook, you can unblock it for a day and check it out. I mean, I know all that stuff, and I got to stop. I got to stop. So this is why the show is late. And this is why I sit here alone. In a package deal. In case you were wondering about all those things, I've answered as much as I could. And I've told you things that I didn't want to say. And I've told you things you probably didn't want to hear. And I told you things, unfortunately, that I felt like I needed to say because I had to get them out of me. I had to. And like I said, I may lose you over this. And you may think it's another fucking episode where it's like, woe is me and whatever the fuck. But it's just me talking, which it has been for 10 years. And it's me trying to tell you at least my truth. And I never take for granted the fact that you fucking guys listen to it, ever. And I will completely understand if you bail, if you don't want to hear this. If you want to hear me talk about sleeping with Tom Hardy, I get it. If you want to hear me talk about a pie eating contest, that's coming. That stuff's all locked and loaded and down the pipeline. There are people who want to hear about Japanese wrestling. Eventually, I will get to that. There are all sorts of things I want to tell you, all sorts of life I want to lead that I want to share with you. And I'm glad that you've chosen to at least share as much of it with me as you can possibly tolerate. I may lose you here. If I do, goodbye and thank you. If you stick around, good things are coming in real life and in show life. But right now, I got to get a mop and clean up all this blood. You guys can get me at mike@MikeSchmidtComedy.com. You guys can be my friends at Facebook.com/the40yearoldboy. You can be my friend on Twitter at Twitter.com/the40yearoldboy. That's actually just, you're following me. You're not my Twitter friend. You're my follower. I'm on Instagram and Snapchat at Mike40YOB. And I'm on Anchor, as I've mentioned, also Mike40YOB. If I haven't chased you away from all that shit, and I haven't chased Anchor away from me, quite frankly, after this nonsense. So please follow me at all those places. Instagram, Snapchat, like I said, Mike40YOB, Anchor 40YOB. Always available, always waiting for your presence. Our friend David Hernandez is the genius, resident genius of this show. He does all the music, all the artwork. You can be his friend at Facebook.com/DavidMexHernandez. You can go ahead and find him there. And you can be his, if you want to hire him to do something, like some people recently did. I know some listeners have commissioned him to do some cool stuff. You can go to artbydmh.com. That's ARTBYDMH.com. Get him on board and make him the guy who does all the things like I do. He's the guy who does all the things. I talked to him last night, and we talked for like fucking 2 hours because I was telling him I want to do this show, but I don't want to do this show. And he's like, just fucking do this show, man. Just do the show. And I tried. I literally tried to do the show like 8 times. Well, actually, that's bullshit. It's now like 11 times because I had tried, by the time I talked to him, I tried 8. I have like a 25-minute chunk that I didn't even put out because I kept dancing around shit. And then I was like, you got to just fucking talk, man. You can't. Vagaries are not good for entertainment. Nobody wants to hear it. And then this guy said to this guy this thing that I can't tell you. I mean, fuck. You might as well. What is that? Some secret agent talk show? Fuck that. Nobody wants to tune into the Falcon and the Soul Man Mystery Hour. All right. So Dave's at artbydmh.com. Go ahead and find him and blame him. He was the one who told me to do this fucking show, so it's on him. Remember that Ryan Dirks is our web guy. Go to facebook.com/Ryan Dirks and be his friend. Remember that Giovanni Giorgio Paluso. Hey, I had a big bowl of that last night. Super fan Gio. Not super fan of me, but super fan of others. He did our YouTube station. You go find his Pod Gods podcast, all the stuff he does with Loveline, and find him at facebook.com/Giovanni Giorgio Paluso. And tell him thanks for all the cool things that he's done. And Lily Von Stupp is my great friend. You can find her at facebook.com/Lily Von Stupp and be her friend there. You can follow her at several different Twitter accounts. She's twitter.com/Lily Von Stupp, twitter.com/MNTs, twitter.com/HollywoodBQFest, and twitter.com/Boobdini. But if you'd like to write her a personal note And just tell her you love her. Tell her I'm sorry. Tell her I need my baby. Whoa, won't you tell her that I love her? That's an old school song. But seriously, you guys, reach out and tell Lily that she's special and important and you love her. Get her at Lily at burlesque411.com. That's Lily, Lili, at burlesque411.com. Here I stand, head in hand, turn my face to the wall. If she's gone, I can't go on, feeling 2 foot small. Everywhere people stare, each and every day. I can see them laugh at me, and I hear them say, hey, you got to hide your love away. Hey, you've got to hide your love away. How can I even try? I can never win. Hearing them, seeing them in the state I'm in. How could she say to me, love will find a way? Gather round, all you clowns, let me hear you say, hey, you've got to hide your love away. Hey, you've got to hide your love away. Want to remind you folks about the Monday Night Teas every Monday night at the 3 Clubs on Vine at Santa Monica. Our great friend Lily Von Stupp is the producer of that show. You can go and check it out at facebook.com/Monday Night Teas. Become a person there who gets all the information about when people are coming. And you can also follow her, like I said, all of her Twitter accounts. Write her for information. A lot of very special shows coming up in the coming months. She may be bringing back her Laugh-In show. She may be bringing back Tarantino. I don't know exactly what her plans are. But go ahead and get a hold of the Monday Night Teas tickets at brownpapertickets.com. And like I said, write her a note. Tell her you love her. Tell her you hope things are going well for her. She needs to hear it. Or she wants to hear it. I don't know if she wants to, but she needs to. Maybe she doesn't. I don't fucking know. Just be nice. That's all. Just be nice. We all just should be nice. Remember, we have sponsors for this show. Although I don't know if they want to sponsor this fucking show, honestly. GetTheButters.com. It's our friend Jerome. He's got, use the code 40YOB at GetTheButters.com. He's got butters and balms and bombs and masks and lubes and probably crying towels after this fucking show. And hopefully he's got a mop head for me, because I got to replace the one I just soaked up a bunch of plasma with, because I opened a vein and dripped all over you fucking guys. I apologize. Clean all the blood out of your ears. GetTheButters.com is the best. Our buddy Jerome is really cool. And go ahead and get a butter, a balm, a lube, a bomb, a mask, any of that neat stuff that you can use to jerk off with. He's got it for sale right now. Pick it up from our friend Gay Jerome. I don't know if he's going by that, but he's a gay person. But I don't know why I called him Gay Jerome. Because it's not, you know what? He's not, he's just a happy guy. Maybe that. No, fuck that. He's a gay dude. Who cares? Why did I even mention that? You know why? Maybe because some of you LGBTQ people out there will go, hey, let's support our dude Jerome. And then you'll buy a butter, a balm, a lube, or a mask for your Pride Parade needs. Butter, a balm, a bomb, a lube, and a mask. Get all those things. But go to getthebutters.com and get them there and use the code 40YOB, and he'll know I sent you, and he'll be happy. Another one of our sponsors this week is, of course, the podcast The Paranoid Strain, hosted by our friend Fearful Jesuit. Episode 2, I believe, is up. I don't know when the others, they're coming down the pipeline. Like I said, it's a monthly show or a bi-monthly show. I don't know, but it's very well produced. Go check it out. Again, he might do some sort of examination about the controversy behind me going out and not doing a show for 2 days and what was the real story. Perhaps he'll be like in search of, he'll be like Leonard Nimoy, the Fearful Jesuit. I'm sorry, Fearful Jesuit. He's not it's The Paranoid Strain with Fearful Jesuit. But go ahead and get him on board because he's also got Petrified Catholic on this week, I believe. That's incorrect. That was Petrified Augustinian. Didn't I say that once? I believe I did. So then he's got Moderately Disturbed Catholic is on with Fearful Jesuit. So go to The Paranoid Strain. It's in iTunes. Download the show. Listen to it. It's very well produced. And then leave a review in the iTunes store telling them that I sent you. Also write him so he can read your letter on the air because he wants some sort of feedback. He wants to get customers and people like that involved. So write him and tell him I sent you. Write him and give him your honest opinion of the show and tell him that his sponsorship is working. I'm getting people to listen to The Paranoid Strain. Thank you, Fearful Jesuit. Please remember, if you want to be an Uber driver, use my code DJZW1YTTUE, all lowercase, DJZW1YTTUE. If you want to be a Lyft driver, all uppercase, Mike 720057, MIKE 720057. Use those and drive so I can be the Uber and Lyft pimp and sit in my house and hide like I did for the past 5 fucking days doing nothing, collecting money because our friend Chris is making rides up in Sacramento. Thank you, Chris. You've made me some money this week and made me go, oh, maybe I can hide some more. So that's what I need. I need an army of you guys out there lubing and lifting. Not lubing, Ubering. Yeah, I need a lube army. Holy fuck, does that sound awesome? Slide into battle and slide right the fuck out. Let's lube up this army and get moving. So go to be an Uber driver, go to be a Lyft driver, and let me collect some money behind the scenes so I can hide. I must continue to hide. Hey, I've done a couple of podcasts. I told you last week about my appearance on Murder We Spoke. That's with our friend Ben and Marissa. And so go listen to that, give that a download and listen to me yelling about Alexa and Bon Jovi and also LeVar Burton. It was a good show, a fun show to do. It was 2 hours for fuck's sake. So that's as long as this goddamn show, but a lot more fun and a lot of people enjoying themselves. Not a lot of guys talking in circles and going, shit, I shouldn't be telling you all this nonsense. Nobody unburdening themselves on that show other than Bon Jovi. So go check out that show, please. And then, you know what? I'm on this week's Comedy Film Nerds. That's right, with my friends Graham and Chris and Graham. They invited me and we talked about the film Kidnap with Halle Berry, which Graham saw. We talked about the film The Dark Tower, which our friend Chris Mancini saw. And then we talked about the film Detroit, which both Chris Mancini and I saw. And I don't want to give it away. Go listen to the episode. We had a great time talking and being funny. Just listen for the pitch that I made where I came up with a movie where the cops from Detroit are in other movies. I think I want to do that. I want to make that a sketch of some sort. It would probably be offensive and wrong, but it made me fucking laugh on the show if the cops from Detroit just showed up everywhere. But go listen to that episode. And also we did a Detroit spoiler episode that basically wound up us talking about America. And it's not as bad as it thinks. It's still funny and interesting, but also we got hardcore, man, and we analyzed that movie and what it means to us now and how things haven't changed and whatever. Who gives a fuck? Go listen now because I don't want to ruin it. I want you to hear me with other funny people. It's me and Graham and Chris doing the spoiler episode for Detroit. Also doing the regular Comedy Film Nerds episode as I fight through a yawn and talk to it. I'm sure my voice got weird right there, but that's okay. There's nothing I can do about it. Go listen to those right now. They are at the All Things Comedy Network. And I should tell you this. Let's talk about this for just a second. Graham and Chris are my good friends, and they are involved in the Los Angeles Podcast Festival. Now, I haven't talked about that this year because they've changed it. They moved to a different location. They had all these different people they were inviting. It's Dave Anthony, Graham Elwood, Chris Mancini. And I should tell you this. Just this week, I was invited to participate in the Los Angeles Podcast Festival. Yay! Now, I should tell you, I was asked before this show came out, so that could change. Like, if they hear this, they could, although that show's called Truth and Lies, that's the theme for the Podfest this year. So here was a whole bunch of truth for them to fucking parse through, and maybe they'll still let me participate. But I can tell you this right now, if you're coming to the Los Angeles Podcast Festival, I am doing a show. I don't know what day, I don't know what time, but if you go to lapodfest.com, all the announcements will be forthcoming about the schedule and who's there and when they're there. And it's a big time deal, man. Bert Kreischer's there this year. Fucking Bill Burr is doing a live podcast for the first time. I mean, they got some real heavy hitters. So I'm excited about it, not only to perform and meet all of you guys and see the regulars and meet new people, but also to check out some shows that I really fucking love. And also to meet Bert Kreischer and go, hi, Bert, can I do your show? Please. That'll be fun. So, but that's good news, man. I've been invited to be at the Los Angeles Podcast Festival. It's this October 6th, 7th, and 8th. Like I said, I do not know when I'm on the air. I don't know what time it's going to be, what day, but I just know I'm one of those 3 days, and I'll be there lurking and hanging out like I always do. I know I'll be having dinner at Katsuya with my friends Heidi and hopefully Suzanne, and maybe Mel will come to town. I think Mel's coming. And perhaps the Hansons will be here. Perhaps Sarah J will show up. Who knows who's going to come to town? I bet the Boyds are here. Perhaps the Webbs will be here. All of you fine folks that I always see every year. Perhaps a Jane Lear will show up. Perhaps Barry and Mary will arrive. I don't know. These are nice people who always come out, and I get to say hi to them, and it makes me very happy. So perhaps Ellen. Ellen, will you be making the scene? I don't know. Poor Ellen last year came to town. And then didn't get to see a show. There was some issue and she had to leave the festival. She didn't get to see my show or anybody else. Worked a merch booth and bailed. I hope Ellen can change that. Hope she brings some of the pineapples she gathered up in Hawaii and comes out and brings those. Regardless, the point is I'll be at the LA Podcast Festival. I hope you will be too. And if you are, I'll meet you. Come to the show. And like I said, the theme is truth and lies. And after today, who the fuck knows what I'm going to cook up for that goddamn show, huh? Probably a bunch of lies, right? Why not? I gave you enough truth. You people want some fucking lies and you deserve it at this point. And now, like I said, I'm going to clean up my house. I got to get blood off the floor. And then I have to figure out how to do the duck and cover routine because we're going to war. Have you heard? Did you hear we're bombing North Korea? Did you hear North Korea's bombing us? Did you hear that Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un are just waving their dicks at one another across the fucking ocean and nobody knows what the fuck to do about it? Because Donald Trump comes out and he says, yeah, we're going to have so much fire and fury on these guys, they're not even going to know what fucking hit them. And then today they're like, hey, that seems a little rough. And he goes, maybe it wasn't tough enough. What? No, you've alarmed everybody. Alarmed. You've scared everyone. There's no reason to be tough. What do you get? And why are you even being tough? You fucking fake alpha male, 70 years old with childbearing hips in a goddamn suit with that same fucking tie. Why are you pretending to be tough? All that, we're going to protect the U.S. You're not going to do shit. You're going to sit in a fucking room and sign shit and press buttons and say, young people, nothing lonelier than being trapped inside yourself. It's easier to hide when you pretend you're the knight. Women love a guy with a giant neck.
We are playing on a level that most will never see.